So like definitely not the Korean question right now, but like there are often as well as claims of like not having cover part of the funding of them as well as land and having the Korean tools like look at of course not shooting tell them ultimately my certain reimbursement right now is that like first of all for like Lilith to say that of course no that it will be lack of that Lilith totally agreeing to what Vlad Robin had said of that basically lack of the not ever having been heard of that being a woman. And that might lead into that leader possibly being well and fully aware that it might be okay to that the one precisely ensuring to that hide the through identity which might be like the actuality of it might be about the might be that one might actually be a woman, but like and that is the actual true name might be Stella as well. And this might be the reason for like me even saying right now that and of course she's not Stella. It's definitely corresponding in such a manner might be due to that for the reason alone that the actual name might be Stella and the actually it might be a woman. But like it might be that welcomes that prevalence of like concealing her identity that might have asserting that the entire world that people across like the world who has first even heard of that welcome they may assuming that welcome is like a man might be the case about which like definitely Lilith might be the fully aware of it. So definitely might be correct. So that definitely and that as for like the points of like the first note by Lilith at that point that would be also connected to that Lilith also so say rejecting that Cook's claims of that Vegapunk having like such this brain intellectual and I'm also maybe that as well might be the truth, but like I think it might be due to that Lilith like jealousy and that ego that Lilith might have denied that by saying, of course, not to that as well. Uh, might be the case which has been my problem. So I can choosing into my person to impression that on this person's cell that on might be someone who might have lived all the way back to an lecture version very soon. Emo might have hired towards like maybe towards like the end of lecture version very after like eliminating succeeding in like eliminating joy by or like and it might be doing like the void century before even Joy was like Joy was like eliminating that might have run into just like a random integer during like the void century and that might have been partly impressed like by like the first impression of Emo itself like Emo might have run into was like Steve's human code was like building something exceptional um it's highly advanced even for like the that even for the limited technologies that might have existed back in like the fourth century that was like you might have probably seen when you might have run to the snack or Stella might have been Stella building something that was like so advanced for even that time all the way 800 years back at the so like you might have been probably because that you might have turned like Stella into that into basically you might have forced Stella to like listen to each and every single orders of that and might have like threatened to like eliminate Stella and that way like back then itself like I'm still thinking about the name of that like that like the Western regions might have granted immortality uh to Stella might have been what had happened certainly not the creators so that might have the remnants that still to notice that to be having like the power of immortality as well as that having like the power to grant or like well grant another individual mortality as well might be the case of Linus. In that way that you might have granted mortality to like Stella and turn Stella into like subordinate to build all that highly advanced like weapons and technologies. So, even from way back then during that work, there might be the case so for definitely necessarily. And also writing like this might be the reason for like even to like the person like Vegapunks having these rumored to have process like technologies that like 500 years ahead into like the future that as well and the might be due to that Vegapunks possibly having been working on things like experiments and everything for like maybe for like the past 800 years. And that way, like it might be the 800 past years of like 820 past years of like uh, of that experience, like building and experimenting on things, and that knowledge that might be even allowing like the function like the person to like build like technologies that 500 years ahead into the future might be the root for the implementation. So, and I'm also operating that for like in Lilith Shaka as well as like Atlas that the industry might be like the children of that Vegapunks whom Vegapunks Stella, whose name might be Stella, and like everything what Stella might have done might have been that her children might have not inherited that have immortality power. So like I'm believing that what Stella might have done might have been to turn them into immortals, what like Stella might have done might have been the Vegapunks Stella might have experimented on in the Shaka as well as actually the parent will be covering it like a similar situation might be present connect similarity to that the Sanji's like siblings like how Judge managed to have that this gains of the power like through science and to like a similar kind of like experiment might have happened in like the case of like the Vegapunks Stella as for her children of like Shaka and Atlas as well as like Lilith as well. But like the difference might be their powers would be far superior to like the powers that the superpowers that like Lilith, Shaka as well as Atlas might be far superior to like the strength of like the siblings of like might be the case definitely my preference. So definitely, and as part of this experience might be like the reason for like Atlas alone having been turned into a giant might have been what might have happened. It's definitely my preference. So still level upon like experience might have been what might have happened. It's definitely my preference. So definitely, and like I'm preferring like through this experiment, like I'm preferring like definitely right now I'm preferring maybe a bit about of like Shaka as well as like Lilith as well as Atlas possibly being part cyborg and part humans and that being possibly such through experiments like the Vegapunks Stella most likely having turned that into such a part human, part cyborg uh, manner so that like they could turn immortal that way. Might be the case that human with brain. So like I'm saying like the part human, part cyborg Shaka as well as Lilith as well as Atlas might be actually in the might be immortal. So definitely my preference. But like I'm still protecting that even though Frankie as well as like part human and part cyborg, like I'm definitely that might be different in like the case of Frankie, but like Frankie might not be immortal because of like Frankie's like limited knowledge with which like Frank had turned himself into like a cyborg, like a part human, part cyborg to like save himself under the time that definitely Frankie might not be an immortal, just like he might be the rain and maybe I'm preparing that after like Frankie during like the whole 2 year time split that basically like Frankie having stayed at like some previous place where where the company used to work like some lab or where maybe at that point Frankie might have gained back then might have uh, after going through that lab test Frankie might have gained the knowledge to like modify himself to turn into through such a manner to turn into like an immortal as well. Frankie might have that knowledge might have been present in that lab during like the 2 year time skip might have been the case definitely might put in the as of right now. So like I'm going to get like it might have been a choice of like trying to like deny himself that immortality because of like trying to not wanting to like uh, not wanting to like live on even after like the straw hat pirates eventually would be getting old and obviously into the ending later like Frankie might have not wanted to like live on forever even after like the straw hat pirates would be gone might be the case for like Frankie so like maybe like something like about that and that like maybe Frankie might have consciously denied himself immortality back during like that 2 year time skip might have been also something that might have happened back then. There's also the key like very ambitious. So like basically in short, like Mitochondrial patients like the weapon might actually the true weapon might actually be a board and her name might be Stella and like Atlas as well as Shaka as well as like Lilith, yeah, they would all be considering like Stella as their mother. Might also be the case that you might be very much that we are considering like the weapon Stella might have that more children as well. Which would be currently underrated. This also that might be the case, definitely might be very okay, so like definitely my different question right now. For example, possibly right now being a superhero member, like referring to like upon as a she likes Lucy and Lucci, like I'm referring definitely my doctor membership from like neither Lucci nor Lucy nor Kanto might have never seen like the actual truth real that upon in their lives so far at all. It's definitely my doctor membership. So like I'm gonna make them as well might be totally falling for like the trick of the when it comes to conceal her identity when in actuality that was welcome won't be a guy, a male, but like welcome will be most likely a female by the name Stella. So that is my consideration and correction that. And also bring it to the only welcomes like children who will be like Shaka as well as like Atlas as well as like Lilith and there would be like children as well. So like welcome we will be them alone as well as like maybe like the elders as well as like alone that would be like knowing that the true identity of like the and name of like the true name of the function. Then that might be the case. Definitely might be so also like Leonardo the question right now and for like about Lucci's like field right now all of a sudden like swinging like pendulum which like Lucci has like never done before like the game when that somebody may be seeing a skin as for like the current levels of like superior control and power levels of like of Lucci. which might have reached to like the point where like Robert by now might have reached like the point of like strength of like being able to like having been able to like awaken this like it's definitely might be very interesting. So like but it might not be just the case for like Lucci alone, but like I'm looking at these two as well. Definitely might be having like a level for a better team to remember. And so like for Lucy as well as like Kaku as well, might have reached like the point of front of like having awakened like the powers. Definitely might be very interesting. But still it might be very interesting is that in like the present definitely I'm between like or Lucci I'm remembering like Stacey might have been a C2 member even before like Lucy and Taco had joined like the C2 rumble and like before that Stacey might have been a C2 member. Might have been the case, but it might be celebrate. Still might be very understand right now that like currently still like the strong C2 member might definitely be Rob Lucy. Definitely might be very interesting. So that Rob Lucy's strength, ultimate strength of the flag. Rob Lucy even after this defeat from Lucy might have that ticket might have taken such a huge hit to that Lucci's left ego that I'm preferring that Lucci still might have not given up at all and might have framed even harder. Might have been what might have happened is like one problem scenario where I'm in or like I'm thinking like Lucci's ticket against like Lucy Lucci's left ticket against Lucy might have crushed that Lucci's lab contract and morale to the point of that maybe Lucy might have given up and might have that's like to take from like the world government from working from like the world government. That's like a good mind member. But like maybe I'm thinking maybe at that point maybe it might have been academic with home or like some higher rank world government official that might have given that absolute motivation to like Lucy to like not give up and to keep training hard. And that way like I'm thinking maybe that it might have been one of these two boxes might have also telling like Lucy regarding to like not give up and basically Lucy even training so it's really hard to with that absolute goal to like eventually find Luffy and get revenge and bring down and defeat and eliminate or even capture Luffy and bring Luffy to like the execution platform. Maybe the goal like Luffy might have trained extra hard since then and might have reached at the point of like even awakening to like also it might have been what might have happened. And Kaku as well might have trained along with like Luffy might have been what might have happened. So that it might have been Luffy that might have awakened like also powers and then it might have been Kaku that might have still after like a certain extent of like a delay, like Kaku might have managed to like awaken his like the proof of might have been what might have happened. And at that point might have been when maybe like they might have been considered like both Lucci and Kaku might have been considered as like worthy of that being part of like the C2 group. And that way they might have gotten that absolute promotion from C9 to like C2 might have been what might have happened as definitely with the first of course. And then like I'm just Lucy, even after that, reaching like the point of being able to like about them like which like Lucy might have achieved even before Lucy had reached like year 5 and awakened his like common book might have been what might have happened to Lunar Prince. So like even after like Lucy might have reached like the point of strength of being able to like awaken his like level 4 powers and but even after like Lucy attaining all that strength, like Lucy might have kept on training and that way then like the person might have with that absolute goal to like get revenge on Lucy and then so like with that absolute goal, Lucci might have kept on training and so that according to my kilometers totally probably like in the person Lucci might be currently be strong as C0 man might be the case even stronger than Stussy might be the case that Lee might be very impressive right. Okay, so like the Lee is very impressive right now as for like the C0 Taco right now revealing how that weapon have fit into like six satellite forms like the paper thing still the fact that like even among like the six forms of like weapon like the reason for like none of them having like the name Stella. Fourth one would be definitely actually due to that weapon itself, like actual name might definitely be Stella. This might be the reflection that I'm sitting on. So like weapon naturally might be a woman and that truth would be something that not even that neither characters to Lucy or even Lucy, none of the Lucy to zero members won't be even aware of, nor even admirals will be even aware of. The hospital that weapons is like a woman. Might be the case is certainly member friends. It will be only that maybe something like maybe it might be only Sengoku or Gap might be like the only Navy officials who might be even aware of this. Like the possibility that I'm right. And maybe Caesar as well might be aware of it. Or like uh it's like or like I'm looking like weapons might be so pretty brilliant that like weapons might always walk around with like a disguise uh through a transformation disguise by making the true weapon transform and appear as a black as a black weapon, like a guy when in actuality like beneath all that the red black weapon in actuality might be a female by the name Stella. Might be the case that we need about which I'm still taking a map of that it will be only like the elders as well. Most likely I'm just praying for me to like the elders and to know that would be aware of this. Definitely my contrarian pressure. So definitely my contrarian pressure is that like the uh, fact that like still like the number two Vegapunk like and they accidentally even said the name Stella in front of the pro had proof that this might be due to like even while Vegapunk is like so extremely brilliant and has been able to like create like 500 years ahead of like futuristic technologies like still printing like among these six major forms of like Vegapunk like their personalities might be something that Vegapunk might have not been able to like precisely change to like that side way the fund might have wanted to definitely might have been so this might be the reason for like about the method permission and probably cutting with it for the possibly having accidentally revealed like the name Stella, which might be that actual of the weapons like true name. But this is like I mean like the six the satellite form of weapons there absolutely no form by the name Stella which might be the reason as well. It's definitely my president. So like I'm going like the six forms, athletic forms of Vegapunk might be according to like not only according to like the order of their creation by Vegapunk, but also according to like the order of like their strength as well. Might be the case. It's definitely my president. So like I'm going like Shaka might be like the weakest form of like Vegapunk, which still might be more brilliant than Shaka still might be way more brilliant than Lilith, but still my impression that like Lilith could be a whole lot from that Shaka might be the actuality of the situation. Or like even though Shaka might be more brilliant than Lilith, like in a fight like ambassador like between like Shaka and Lilith, which might be always like Lilith that might be always the author and defeated Shaka. Might be the case is definitely not the correct. So like it will be one of the order of creation, but also according to like order of strength that like this six set of satellitic form of like weapons might have been created by 12 might be the case exactly my was the revelation. So like definitely my but like the revelation that like Atlas is like the fifth form of like Vegapunk like I'm different like so like since like so like I'm different like the second strongest form of like Vegapunk might be like the giant Atlas might be the case definitely my was the revelation. But like since like the sixth form is by the name York like York might be like I mean like six or six like forms of that athletic form but like on the like York might be definitely was strongest and like be more brilliant among like the six forms. So like York might be probably even stronger than even Atlas might be the case. So also definitely might be very right. So like my reactions and like it might be among like the brilliant side of that weapon thinking that basically might have been revealed through Shaka. It's like Shaka not underestimating like the Emperor Luffy as well as like the Soviet group. Might be that brilliant side of like weapons, which might be revealed through Shaka. That's a tiny fraction of that brilliant side might have been revealed through Shaka, not underestimating the Luffy and the Soviet group. Might be the case was definitely my difference because like in actuality according to my friends the original weapon would be like a woman by the name Stella. Like and she might be seeing while seeing all this like journey of an explorer group right now into like the island and everything like I'm looking still like the actual group like you feel like not thought even remotely at all even while like the actual group welcome would be only taking so much pride in her achievements like step while Stella would be like the actual group welcome might be taking so much pride in her achievement and everything still Temple of Stella would be someone who's like brilliant enough to like not at all underestimate for her group. And Luke is like Emperor Clarence Point as well. This is definitely my good friend. So definitely considering as to like how like eventually Stella like that the robot from Stella might be eventually ending up like successfully like trapping like the entire fitness provide through in like naked and something like the entire fitness provide through in Hector Island and like mainly through like these six satellitic forms of like weapon I'm different like weapons would be like taking a whole cinematic kind of like situation to confuse like the provide into like making to tracking like the product to like into like having among like the six satellitic forms of like weapon having like some of those satellitic forms like play the villain role while some of like the satellitic forms play like the hero role of a hero role in like as if like those satellitic forms of weapons are on like the side of good and on the side of the product good fighting against like the realistic form that way like like literally for like weapons to like using all three all six satellitic forms of weapon like a weapon, like actual true weapon, like most like this Stella told me that we're tricking that and probably confusing like the industry of like the have to from realizing that like the industry of like it's like it formed against like the Squad and that way like I'm saying like the Squad code including the industry of Squad code including like Lucy eventually ending up getting tricked to that extreme kind of matter to the extreme by that person weapon and ending up getting into like an personal kind of situation into these like the scenario that I'm preparing for like the scenario of like dating. Even at that point, I'm looking like back on still would be messing up on a single point, and that would be that then while in person like this process, you still have something that one among them still managing to not get captured as like the scenario that I'm looking and that single member either among single member among the squad if it's like a single member among the squad, so then I'm looking maybe it's being job up or like it's being probably frankly like a seriously high possibility that I'm looking frankly alone like managing to like by maybe by fear like or like by frankly, sure, brilliant example. This is like frankly, like the whole, uh, just like the Egghead Islands as well as like Vegapunks. It's all about like cyborgs and mechanical island and everything like and technology, futuristic technology and everything like that is like all that is like totally cyborgs and all that is like totally relatable to like frankly like a certain example. Like maybe it being frankly. It's like I mean, it was quite program. Also, still the more so like about maybe more than job or maybe it being frankly alone. That would be like that simple stock at number that would be eventually towards like the end while like all the remaining stock at crew members will be getting captured by like total weapons and like at that point frankly alone managing to like barely managing to like escape that captivity and eventually like frankly that frankly itself like eventually ending up struggling struggling his way into like eventually ending up managing to like securing like three like the product goals like one possible scenario that I'm looking or the possible scenario that I'm bringing for like literally for like the entirety of like the product crew members including frankly getting trapped getting caught in the trap and getting in person but like maybe at that point if being Bonnie alone that would be like barely managing to like get by sheer luck maybe and that way like through Bonnie that way that so bonus struggling her way into like into still managing to like treat like the store have to. And we believe that way that the store have to at that point around like going collectively struggling their way into like eventually bringing down taking out like all stopping all space of like the satellite of Black Beacon as well as then finally even defeating Black Beacon who would be most likely Stella. So also that's least the scenario that I'm doing. And that's the other thing that even when the have this like split up form of Black Beacon and the satellite forms of Black Beacon still the original Black Beacon would be even far superiorly stronger than if we have such future 500 years ahead of like futuristic technology processing weapons for like the actual core weapon who might have also sort of the actual core weapon for this Stella might be like an immortal and immortality might have been granted to act the original weapon by Kuma and since I couldn't remember the rendition probably bring the actual original weapon would be like Stella might have been someone who might have lived existed back during like the voicing variant but still like the original weapon might have also Stella might have also that experimented on herself and might have that way consciously might have turned something to like part human and part cyborg as well to uh to have like Stella be able to like defend herself against like such against even like the worst case scenario. So like I'm thinking that way like the actual process where comes to make Stella might be also part human and part cyborg and that process where Stella might be like even far superior is stronger single-handedly might be far superior is stronger than the collective strength of these like six satellites of satellitic forms of like weapons might be the case. This definitely might be very interesting. So I'm going to bring like enough terms of squads who will be taking out indicating all six like satellite forms of like weapon. Even at that point, they will have like weapon herself, like Stella herself to deal with at that point. This is like the scenario that I'm looking for and member the rendition. And that weapon Stella will be taking that absolute advantage of like the affected island as like some way to have advantage in fight against like the Stoic with by controlling like all the machineries and all the cyborgs and across like the and all the holograms and everything of like connected to like the head island and everything like the actual so weapon who might be Stella might be possibly being able to like take advantage of the entirety of like the head island to fight eventually fight against like the Stoic. there's like clinical scenario that I'm doing. And that's why like I'm doing like Europeans who have put their way into like clinically still managing to like quickly and bring down like Stella, the open by fungus like in the scenario that I'm looking for. Okay, so that definitely I'm pretty understand right now as well. Like I feel right now thinking like the six split up satellite forms of weapon are all inactive with weapon and like Lucci thinking that is not to be the case. Like I'm referring like actually inactively like I'm still thinking about the question that like these six satellite forms of like weapon, which might be the satellite forms of weapon, still it would be like okay would be only focusing like just like 1% of like the actual true strength of like the origin weapon to maybe Stella. Definitely might be critical. These six magnetic forms like actually will be only focusing like just 1% of like the true strength of like the original weapon by the name Stella might be the case definitely by the range. So like even if like the straw had true eventually or percent defeats and takes out and even destroys all three six or six satellite forms of like weapons still it would have any effect at all on like the origin weapon Stella might be the case definitely by the range. So that even while weapons will be able to control like the six satellite forms of weapons still it won't be like and still like there won't be a direct connection to weapon where like destroying or taking out even any of anyone or like even all six of like the satellite forms of like weapon would won't be even having any effect at all on like the origin weapon or the like strength. It's definitely my personal very consumption right now. Also definitely my very consumption right now as well like the crazy government of like Kanto exclusive as well as like Lucia right now even discussing about like the topic of weapon would be lead most likely due to that ship that was earlier revealed to after like Kobe's abduction by Blackbeard that like ship that was like revealed to be like that navy ship that was revealed to be like headed for like second island like it might be in that very same ship that like this current interaction between like these three secret government members will be taking place especially when the friends so like they will be right now headed towards like second island and like they are each and behind heading towards like island right now would be to like get would be to like meet with like development and basically according to like the orders of like their higher ups maybe it might be according to like the orders of like maybe the admiral again later level at that kind of maybe they might have given like orders to like two three people or members to after like obvious of abduction to by Blackbeard to straight away head over to that Edgar Island and basically get a few cyborgs from that weapon and that to for them to like then head off with those few cyborgs to like the pirated island of like the full island and basically for them to like fight and bring down like the Blackbeard pirates and basically for them to like rescue Kobe and basically it's like it would be like the mission that might have been given to them exactly another way. So like I'm looking like most likely a kind of part of that permission he might have given to them like either of them it might be a kind of more like I'm looking like maybe God as well might have steadily played a role behind the scenes thing like that's an all getting issue that up to itself might have been the case. And definitely, like definitely, Akainu will be someone who would at all who won't be at all even fond of that at all. It's definitely my look at everything. Yeah, like I'm looking so like I'm looking like maybe Garth might have played like definitely Garth might have genuinely uh might be like seriously caring about like Kobe and Kobe's safety. So like Garth definitely would be definitely wanting to like ensure like Kobe's like a rescue. So like I'm sorry, Garth might have definitely might have manipulated a bunch of like the higher Navy officials into like having them put the pressure on like the fleet admiral Akainu to like to the or to like the three seating members to go through like the Eckerd Island and meet with like weapon and get a few cyborgs or cyborgs from that weapon and basically go and to like work to like survive in the full like that and rescue Kobe and bring Kobe back. Might be what might be happening right now is the fleet member so like basically the Indian pressure for like earlier the flag helmet or like basically Gobi's friend like begging to like higher Navy official to send forces to like save to rescue Kobe like that Navy officer back then who was like totally acting as a like this is like totally against like the pleading of like helmet to like save Kobe like I'm gonna think in actuality that higher Navy official might be in actuality might have been only putting on such an absolute fake acting to have like Helmapop only take like the whole Navy job seriously. Like Helmapop being so that speaks so extremely close to like close to like Kobe as well as I think like Helmapop as well haven't been present along with like Kobe, while Kobe and like the Navy forces had basically showed up to like a war hand of like war hand of like island to like capture war hand of. So like I'm thinking that he is like due to like the process of filming as well. Back then with like Kobe, while Kobe had been affected by like the Blackfield virus, like to teach helmet for a lesson and basically to have helmet for get to take his job more seriously and respect man of like understand that higher maybe official to be I don't know if you put on fake acting in front of like the bleeding helmet for while inactive election as well might be totally aware of that maybe phones haven't been already sent since the members haven't been already sent to like Tech Island to like get weapons like cyborgs to like save Kobe from that full alert might be like the cases that leak might in the end. So like the exact form of that like the treated them again might have issued to like the preceding government was like probability cargo as well as to see would be to like just get like a bunch of cyborgs like weapons and to only focus on like rescuing Kobe alone and to not try to like pick a fight with like the Blackbeard and after the Blackbeard virus because of like the Fire Island of Full being like a fire island and having like containing Kobe only containing all sorts of like other strong fires as well. Living in like the fire island of Full so like basically even like so like through like basically with that app would step to like totally infiltrate into like Full and basically to rescue and leave like Full as soon as possible would be then by prioritization itself would be along the lines of like the orders that like an even a kind of might have issue to like the secret government also that news might have very and survival. Also the play might have story after that it's sitting on those that is like outage like election percent is like a member of like the black red virus like ember bring like and the fact that that had happened after like outage is like defeat against like a kind of I think for like the fight to have like the position of like the preacher that's what I think. So like I'm definitely after like how did you losing that fight, like how did you might have only felt embarrassed and basically how did you might have felt even as a black felt ashamed and basically might have even felt that basically how did you return back to like the Navy back to like another Republicans it was like in like the Navy like and that one like other another like basically like Skizaro and like the other partners maybe even like Rocky View as well as like make or like Fujikara might like make fun of like how to be might be along the line how he might have felt and like how he himself might have felt like embarrassed to like and maybe even they don't felt like undeserving after like losing to that time in that battle that was placed in as a black how he was like undeserving to hold on to like another person so like how he might have at that point made that promise to himself to like basically to show that he's worthy of like the another position and then only to like return back to like the Navy and to have that and to have like the Navy then after the Navy was that he's so extremely impressed and even to the extent of being blown away by how his like achievements and only at that point for like how could you to put that on that in a powerful manner like to return back to like the Navy back to like position as like a admiral in like the Navy might have been along the lines like how he might have at that point back then itself might have taken as like a decision and might have made that promise to himself after his like loss against like a kind of might have at like that fight that took place in something that might have been what might have happened certainly in the direction. So like straight away that decision that how did you might have taken might have been seen like basically since like in like the war in Marine Port like since like the Blackbeard Pirate has been so like intimidating to even like the Navy forces and everyone there like everything like so how did we might have straight away decided to like target that very exact fire troop that's like currently in like one of like the strongest position among like the fire total fire crews out there. It might be around the lines like on the front maybe. How can you might have decided to like stealthily that way infiltrate into like the Blackbeard fire as like one of like as a like to only use like how to be like defeat against like a kind of as like an excuse of the reason to like trip like there to that way to like join for like how to get to like put on that big acting as like how to have taken the decision to like leave the Navy and to like join like the Blackbeard Pirate Crew as like a subordinate and that way from uh that way using that absolute skill then fake acting from within like the Blackbeard Pirate Crew to like learn everything about like Blackbeard and like the thing about each of like, the crew members and that way to eventually to from within like the Blackbeard Pirate Crew as like a member of like the Blackbeard Pirate Crew like for how they use that absolute skill to like eventually destroy like that and take out like the entire piece of like the Blackbeard Pirate Crew including Blackbeard. And then like after such an achievement at that point for like only for like RPG to like march back towards like the Navy and towards it, like back towards its like admiral position. So that like at that point like RPG's like achievement will be praised by like the not only the Navy, the industry of the Navy, but including like the highest Navy official and including like even at that point even like the Fleet Admiral Kaino would be forced to like praise RPG for the like achievement will be along the lines of the thing that RPG might have planned. And this might be the reason for like RPG since then to like even like the person being part of like the Blackbeard Pirate group as like a member. Might be the case, especially method remission. And about for the sun for liberating like Kobe into the topic thoroughly figuring out while Kobe right now like Kobe like up at that situation in like full alert like a different Kobe while being become by like the Blackbeard Pirate. So definitely to be that how to be that would be in charge of like looking after like Kobe and giving food to like Kobe and all that like basically while the Blackbeard and the Lecter would be like putting Kobe for Kobe through extreme suffering to like interrogate the Kobe to preparing definitely like to this time like I'm suffering like Kobe would be like okay while going through all that suffering like Kobe would be still managing to like hold on and those Kobe would be having such a natural strong will and like Kobe would have even to this point would be like might have taken a lot of injuries like Kobe might have still like hold on to all the secret stuff to like make the Navy and might have not revealed not even a single thing at all definitely one of the things. So like Blackbeard might have decided to like keep Kobe alive while and with like in present kind of like situation while even continuing like the suffering on Kobe. And Blackbeard will be only expecting Kobe to actually to be bright and eventually reveal all the coaches secrets connected to like the name first when it was definitely my brother and Bishop. So consider that like his moments and strategies against like the pirates and everything. It's definitely my brother and Bishop. So like during this time like I was doing like still remember the like a kind of would be like I mean like outage would be like the person that would be like giving food to that Kobe and everything is definitely my consideration. So like during this time, like I mean, definitely conversation totally happening between that Kobe and RTG, in which like I'm different like RTG would be like that aspect that would be like relating to Kobe as to like the reason behind RTG joining like the Black Red Band. So like also like telling the scenario that I'm referring. So definitely I'm considering like this definitely eventually happening and like so by the time like the Navy forces using like weapons like side of like Amazon will be eventually rescuing Kobe from like the pirate industry like full alert. So like I'm considering either that happening or like I'm considering so the body members remembering like for example considering like the two of the members three of them like Taco, Lucci and Stussy would be right now heading over to Sector Island to get like the side of from there from and then since like due to like most of like a squad to happen on Sector Island and I'm considering like maybe like a whole fight happening between like Lucci and Luffy again in like Sector Island as well. It's also like a possibility that I'm looking for. So that whole fight has resulting in like maybe Lucci and like those two members that getting defeated once again. It's also by the squad it's also like a possibility that I'm looking for. So like that way like I'm considering the Navy's that way I'm looking for like the Navy getting that shocking info that basically the attempt to like rescue Kobe has like once again has totally failed to like provide hope presence in like again island to know so like it's just an arc that I'm referring. So like maybe I'm referring that maybe like once like gaps will be finding out what this information as for that attempt of like maybe to through platforms like cyborgs and the people members to like rescue so we have full alert have been like maybe I'm referring at that point like gap himself all by himself maybe heading off to like full alert all by himself. So that's all intended to like save Kobe and I'm also bring maybe class with this like exceptional powers like which would have earned the like the title of like the hero of like the Navy like I'm putting Navy Guard all by himself like I'm doing the that aspect just like even managing to like rescue Kobe. It's also like single-handedly also like about the development. And I'm also maybe during that attempt of that like I'm doing maybe like eventually getting surrounded by like the uh, black red virus as well as like the other pirates great and pirates in like the Batman and the full and that I'm different eventually even though some different maybe of networks and that even though that could be succeeding in like pursuing Kobe and even though that will be happening still I'm going to having to like sacrifice himself to ensure that Kobe escapes from full alert. It's also like a little puzzle scenario that I'm not doing. That way like I'm doing like that traumatic kind of like a situation happening for Kobe where like someone like that when Kobe is being totally seen as if like absolute hero the person probably will be looking up towards, and the person who probably will be sort of really wanting to like be like who will be given to like the person will be up. So like I'm doing that person like having to like sacrifice himself to probably getting affected by the black virus and like still I'm something like that way maybe that probably shortly bit nothing just getting eliminated by like the black virus. While I'm the like will be shouting out to like Kobe to like run and escape. And that way, like I'm bring that Kobe that way, or being forced to like Kobe, knock turn back and basically Kobe that way manages like escape from full electric like one possible scenario, one of the possible scenarios that I'm looking right. And like I'm also predicting maybe of like a remote hospital for like maybe Kobe being exceptionally strong, but like Kobe maybe Kobe putting on that big thing in front of like Blackbeard as a Black Kobe is that big when naturally maybe of like a remote possibility that maybe even Kobe getting affected by Blackbeard might have been something that Kobe might have consciously done with that absolute confidence that basically even if like Blackbeard at that Kobe that Kobe either might be able to like save himself and rescue out of like the blackberry like by himself or like Kobe is it only thing along the line is like maybe like since like Kobe currently is in like a high enough position in like the Navy and since like Kobe recently had even achieved like the hero title as well among like the again Kobe even has got like it's like Kobe has well has gotten a hero title among like the Navy soldiers and everything. So maybe Kobe might be also think that along the lines of like Navy since like Kobe is like important enough of like a Navy soldier like Navy like the Navy usually sending like forces to like to Kobe from like the black belt parents when actually maybe also supreme form like the other forces that are in supreme form like Kobe getting affected by black belt might be something that Kobe might have consciously and strategically done of like allowing himself to like get affected by like black belt so that like Kobe's actual goal might be to like find out the truth about how could you like why how could we join like the Blackbeard with the Navy and join like the Blackbeard like so maybe to like find out the truth behind it like maybe it might be the reason for like Kobe going through such extremes of like letting himself putting on the fake acting and basically that way letting himself get captured by Blackbeard might have been what might have happened with like the other possibilities that I'm just going to and methods here because like the female Korean version were like from like maybe from like Kobe's point of view as like a Navy soldier like I'm thinking from Kobe's point of view like even though like capturing like Luffy and the Straw Hat Crew might be of like such extremely high priority for Kobe like I'm even more of like a priority that even capturing Luffy and like the Straw Hat Crew for Kobe might be to like ensure like the for Kobe to like ensure like the capture and like the eventual destruction of like the Blackbeard Pirate Crew is definitely meant to bring because of all the villains of like as like a power group that like the Black Panther group would be doing. Even among like the Emperor Pirate Crew, like I'm talking like from Toby's point of view, we would be seeing like the Blackbeard Pirate Crew as like the most villainistic Pirate Crew that's causing and the most like destruction and villains across like the world. But like I'm talking for Kobe from Kobe's point of view, like to be like the highest priority currently for Kobe would be to like bring about like the initial destruction of like the Blackbeard Pirate Crew first might be the case, definitely my military ambition. So definitely from Kobe's point of view, Kobe alone might have like that secret doubt or like a gut feeling as if like how can he like joining like the Blackbeard Pirates group as like a member of that group might be like how can he stealthily how can he attempt to like stealthily while putting on that fake acting to like eventually destroy like the Blackbeard Pirates group from within might be along the lines of like a gut feeling that Kobe as well might be Kobe alone might be feeling even though the person's definitely member of the like maybe Kobe getting yes, and Kobe might have consciously let himself put on the fake acting and might have let himself get captured by Blackbeard. And so that like Kobe could that way make it towards like Aokiji and might have could like Kobe find out the truth from Aokiji if like it was like if like Aokiji is still on like the side of good and like Aokiji joining like the Blackbeard crew was like Aokiji still wanting to like destroy like the Blackbeard crew or not or if like Aokiji is like genuinely a part of like has turned into like side of villains and we genuinely is like a part of the Blackbeard but to like to confirm this like like Kobe might have decided to like maybe get the constantly might have decided to like get into yeah affected by like the battle that was also like a remote watching the a certain extent of like about the that I'm referring. So certainly on top of confirming this like instant like the question of like the black to show might be that was such high priority to like Kobe like to also to have that secret interaction with like how they and basically to get all that information, crucial information connecting to like the background wire through that secret interaction with like how did he which would be throwing crucial for like throwing to injuries and like the navy to eventually be able to like destroy like the Blackbeard pass through would be also along the extent of like the ways in which like Kobe might have got is definitely might also the infrastructure. So definitely to that have to achieve this like I'm trying so we might have maybe consciously decided to get like himself get a better five and Blackbeard path. So might have been what might have happened is like about the that about to solve the correct number. Oh yeah, so like definitely my totally impression right now as for like the current mission of like obviously and like the citizen members being selected but like the Kuma like type of select weapon and eliminate the other multiple weapons like totally putting like maybe like the set reason for like weapon Kuma even being affected in like the path and being experimented on by the possibly maybe to actually create this exact current version of like the cyber Kuma with like the wings and everything, which is on like the ship of like that like the season members are transporting through like a island might be the case with something like that. So like this might be like this version of cyber version of Kuma. Kuma might be like the ultimate strongest version of strongest version of that Kuma like of this might be the case which definitely might be the kind of which can totally definitely with it having wings and everything like it's totally will be able to like fly. So like I'm just putting two possibilities. Either the like cyber Kuma like cyber that basically that Lucci and the Senior members are currently transporting to like second island, either being like the actual Kuma or like the actual Kuma who might have been by now might have been immortalized through just like transformation. While the Kuma that was like saved from like the Celestial Dragons from like Marijo in like the past time is like currently present in like Kamabaka Kingdom, possibly being just another of the start of the star. It's like also like about the director. So like either this or like I'm the spring brother possibly would be like at like Kamabaka Kingdom that the Kuma there might actually be the original Kuma while using that original Kuma like that has been Kuma sublection and for being solely for like weapons to achieve its weapons like provincial goal, which might have been to create this like current version of like the Kuma cyborg with like the wings that like which would be like the ultimate versions like the which like Lucci and the CPU remember right now transporting like and island might be like the case that the other possibility developments, right? So like regardless of these possibilities, like that being my secondary question right now as for like why exactly Lucci and like the government members are assigned with like the task to like eliminate like the multiple weapons like I'm like that need it might be due to like this like while just like a version of like Kuma cyborg with like the wings would be like that ultimate version so after like its the creation like I mean like weapon and its creation as well might have been totally according to like the orders given by Kuma through the elders through the two weapons to like create that absolute cyborg warrior for Kuma. Like the latest best even more strong up version of like a cyber warrior like Kuma might have demanded so like more demanding that through like the elders giving the orders to like the origin weapon might have been what might have happened. And so like maybe the impressions that like maybe every 5 years like would be like demanding such new and upgraded version of like cyber for like an ultimate cyber warrior for that would be something that might demand from through the elders might be giving the orders and that way demanding from well every 5 or 10 years. It's definitely all the way back from like the working group might have been like the cases like the working development. So like from the like this might have been like the latest like version. So like I'm looking like among the creation like the of cybers like the latest ultimate strong cyber warrior, which like according to like the most like repeated demands like I'm looking like weapon might have created and delivered to like through like the Navy forces that might have been the like version of like Kuma with like swimming and everything might be the case that league as a current. So like that this like current version of like Kuma with like cyber Kuma with like the rooms and everything might have been a side of that where one might have seen as like ultimate creation, latest creation of like the among like the Kuma participants and like where one might have delivered that to like through like the Navy ship where one might have delivered it to like maybe 5 years back. So like my then the impression for like maybe effect about there as a for like they do after like the very first abduction of like Kuma and extermination of weapons on Kuma like I'm maybe then like I'm looking like even after like releasing Kuma and even after like Kuma serving as like more like I'm looking during that time when weapons was like experimenting on Kuma like where it might have been able to like collect all the data needed and actually create like ultimate positive chat, which would be like currently in like 30 with the responsibility right now, transporting to like a that might have been the case. So like even from then, like entering weapons might have been on like this like work to create this like ultimate positive chat with like the wings and everything. Might have been the case, especially when so, like while Vegapunks might have been working on this like facility in like like location and like Marijo, there might have already existed like the recent before the Kuma version Cyborg, like the recent test, the previous test creation of like Cyborg creation warrior of like Vegapunks might have already been present and like like palace and like Marijo as well as like a bunch of a huge army of like cyborgs as well might be steadily present at like a hidden location and Marijo certainly might be branches might be all due to like this like a big fear of like one if like of like the worst case scenario is like Joy Boy finds out that like Joy Boy's return happens through like Lucia vacancies like come out through and also finds out that the most like the villain and like the ruler of the Ganja world and like with like Joy Boy power in like Lucy like totally shows up to like fight the move like at that point for him to be prepared for such a worst case scenario like brilliantly Timo might have been preparing for like the past 800 years ever since Timo might have realized after like the destruction of like the entirety of like the continents across like the world while leaving like the red line while sharing like the red line alone while Timo even deciding to that happen this might have all happened after like Timo's proof like the manipulation of like Indonesia might have ended up resulting in like Tunisia betraying Joy Boy and that might have been the crime that Tunisia did and that might have been how that Joy Boy might have been led by probably drowned in like the sea due to like universe different might have been what might have happened. Especially might have been because like the salt water might have like Joy Boy might have ended up like I think like the salt water of like the sea during like a storm makes weather. And like that might have probably weakened Joy Boy and like Tunisia might have that way like shaken off like the weakened Joy Boy into like the sea might have been what might have happened against him might have been the reaction that are sitting on the so that way after like Joy Boy's like elimination number here, what might have happened would be like Tunisia might have brought like his hand has brought at like going towards like the red line towards like as like evidence as for like Tunisia having eliminated Uruguay and Tunisia back then who might have been on the verge of like uh, due to like extreme old age like Tunisia as well who might have been on the verge of like ending up getting eliminated like and getting this to like I think and by falling for like like manipulation and that way to attain immortality like Tunisia might have done this for like and the might have granted some mortality and like then like Tunisia might have been on top of like the red line as well along with like while might have totally destroyed like the entire like the continents all across like the world because like Ottoman Bulgarian that are sitting on will be this that like Timor will be having that like most ice will be having that like layers of like sea shooting out power like it might be the case. So like I'm sure Timur might be probably having a third iPhone in his pocket, which like might be an accent across like the world. So places Timur might have been to, or with like photos of like places that Timur have been to, or to even photos of like people that Timur might be able to like send Timur's like third eye, which will be hovering on the skies and basically that way like I'm like Timur might have sort out lasers from that giant eye that will be forming within the sky using like the hyper, which might be how like Emo might have destroyed like the Lucia kingdom using that less of being shooting out from the sky might have been from like the giant eye that might have appeared onto like the sky above the cloud, which like uh, the people there might have not seen because of like the giant eye being above the clouds might have been what might have happened, especially by the like Lucia is like allied to like the world government like even making like countries like that allied to like the world government of like Imo might be or like almost like strategy to like that way have like all those like countries like the kind of virus with control from like and at that point like all the conquest countries will be like instantly taken like the moment like the allegiance happens and so that like could like eliminate those countries whenever wants that the country like places and all these countries spread across like the present day world of like the one piece like I'm just referring one to slow like I'm will be all just islands alone like when in actually back in like the void century recent years back in the void century there might have been that like has those continent like a number of continents on like the same level of height as that of like the red line might have been the case which all of it like might have eliminated like layers of eye like the like how after like the elimination of Florida. It might have been what might have happened. And so like I'm referring after that, I'm still thinking of everything mention that like after that construction of like the entirety of like the continent, like that huge landmark, like construction through like powers like might have resulted in like huge earthquakes and tsunamis and earthquakes and everything like happening all across like the world and that might have resulted in like the entirety of like the world like shifting and revolving, like rotating might have been what might have happened. And that way, like the red line, its position might have got displaced. And that way, that the red line might have moved, or like the entirety of the globe, like the world might have revolved, and like the red line position getting displaced. That could be how like the grand line as well as like the new world might have been formed. It's definitely my conclusion. That grand line as well as like the new world, that narrow strip of water, like it being such a narrow strip of water, as well as like the red line as well being like a narrow strip of land, won't be at a sheer point, because like the grand line as well as the new world might have been like where like the origin portion of like the red line might have been back to like a void centering before like might have destroyed all the continents of like the world, and what might have caused like the revolution or like the rotation of like the entirety of like the world, and the red line getting displaced might have been what might have happened in like that past. Definitely might have been emergent that I'm putting over. So like definitely might have been emergent that like since like the Lucci and like see who remembers like talking about like returning like just like Kuma like Pacifica uh, back to that island. So like I'm simply like the free like this Kuma like sort cyborg might have been given by Vegapunk as might have been like the recent ultimate latest ultimate creation of like Vegapunk created number of years back, and which like according to like news demands that Vegapunk might have straight away sent to like Imo to have like Imo's side at like Marijo. So like I'm looking like Webfront would be always having that task to like keep working on creating like the latest futuristic like side of even more greater powerful side of each and every single time, and basically that constantly without taking any break, and to then deliver that to like so like the Navy, deliver to like the Navy. It might be like job non-stopping like job of like definitely my consideration. So like I'm saying like this like Kuma like cyber was like the wins might be like the last the previous creation of like the ultimate cyber of like weapons, just like weapons might have given to Imo through like the navy should might have been what might have happened. So like I'm talking like Imo right now like the present might have returned that it would be that right now that the previous members bringing the like ultimate Kuma like cyber back to like that island would be definitely due to that. Due to maybe if the time currently being having reached like the deadline for like weapon to that is need to complete the like next even more superior list from a cyber and send it to deliver to like through like the name ships might be like the current situation. So like I'm sure it definitely in like within that section island like I'm like weapon right now like the person might have or might be already on like might already either completed or like might be desperately trying to like complete that might have already reached like almost like the what reach like 90% of like the completion of like weapons like ultimate next superiorly even more stronger cyber creation. So like I'm thinking maybe like I'm going with like the way of the going within like like having showing in like the skin pass have coding on to like the code of like daily as well as like sure Abushi like in like the past like and that might have been due to like in that past like really I mean like might have even back then might have realized that basically since like back then definitely I think like also had like the photo of Luffy as well. So like I'm doing back then like I'm so the like you might have realized that basically like Luffy had like the Gundam Code like after like 800 years of like trying to like find like the Gundam Code, and also according to my consideration like it was destruction of like the entirety of like the continents across like the one white leaving like the red line like might have been like Timo's attempt after like eliminating Joy Boy. Like it might have been like Timo's attempt to like destroy like the movement. But like I'm thinking like even after all that destruction, like it might have been after that destruction that eventually Mo might have realized that like there was so even Timo's powers can't destroy there was so like I'm thinking since then like for Timo it might have been just like high priority task for Timo and to set and after like creating like the world government, like even creating like the world government as well might be uh, actually might have been solely with that high priority intent of to move to that send for this like create all this to have more basic number of subordinates and to have them like serve across like the world to like find like the government group. So like for you to like get the government group like it might be like the actual main reason for like the world government even getting created by the might have been also the case in the American pyramid. So like 800 years with like the government group invading and basically after 800 years once like might have like proceeding like the government group and eventually once like had found out like that like like the government focus and like notice question like I'm randomly remove even though at that point itself might have been able to like easily eliminate like Luffy like so much of one like not doing that would be solely due to that extreme fear of of like basically uh of if having taken like 800 or 4 years of like searching for like the government source to even be able to like locate like the government source. So like even while remove realized the government source of the like Luffy still might have had that whole situation where like might have decided to that as for stealth to have either Blackbeard or like chance or chance exploring it to totally use like chance to take advantage of like the like create situations that Luffy has to selection, which like Shanks in the beginning by giving up his arm might have consciously created solely because of like because of what Rodrigo might have told to like Shanks back then after like returning from the after while Roger might have learned everything through like the Chronicles in Laptop about like the monkeys and like about like the legendary lab. Roger might have told this life back chance about like uh, in order to find that Roger wasn't able to find the One Piece and like in order to find the One Piece one need like the Ramen book. So like Roger might have said this like to like chance and after like no Roger having learned all this knowledge and Roger even saying this like chance might have been told so that like Roger it might be at that point that Roger might have decided that basically it's like Roger was at the end of his like journey. So the might have decided that like at least to have just like some uh the next the turn of like the joy boy to happen through his like some is maybe along the line like Roger might have decided and then it might have been when like Roger might have even decided to like get married and like and all that might have happened. So like I'm saying at that point like Roger might have after returned back from Lapis to like the child like Roger might have lied and told about like the Gangnam through being what's like required to like find like the one piece that lied to like Shanks maybe through such a manner like Roger might have told the Shanks that absolute intent that basically solely reflections not having made an initial D in his name, which might have been definitely correct like the one within left and like the initial D in the name was definitely necessary for because like if you want to like the middle initial D in the name would be all descendants of like the giant away from like the whites and the river like in like the morning this might be totally other than that like 800 and maybe 20 years into like the future like the turn of joy will be happening so one of like it's just the descendant with like the initial in the name so like Roger might have totally can take it on Ace to end up for the was to return to happen through Ace. And that way like Roger might have even thought chance about like in order to find like one nearly like the Gamma Pro and that way to have chances well search for like the Gamma Pro since like Roger's journey was reaching its end. And so like Roger might have had that confidence that like because of selection not having like the millennium initial be his name like even if chance find like the Gamma Pro like it will still eventually end up in like cases of so we head on the line like Roger might have had that absolute confidence. So like that might be the reason for like and so like from Kant's point of view, Shanks might have had ultimate goal to like find like the one piece and to succeed well Roger couldn't so that that way like Shanks might have given up his like army for like Luffy so that to like create that within Luffy so that like eventually Shanks might have been betting on like basically eventually what like Luffy would be grown strong to the point of like reaching like the stage of like being able to like awaken just like maybe at that point like Luffy may be using his switch might be able to give up his like Pro switch and might be along the line tend to be able to take advantage of that like situation that Luffy has to switch and so that way get back like from Luffy might be of the line chance might have also like I'm actually at some point like people might have take common chance and might have threatened to like cause suffering to like not only chance but also to everyone suffering and like individual elimination to like not only chance but to everyone just to the chance as well. Maybe along the line like an extreme threat that people might have made like chance to which like chance might have only got one and so, like, the Liam Super relax, might be the reason for like Shanks at one point having been shown, revealed to even show up casually at like Marigo in front of like Zelda in like the past and all that. Might be to like solely to like impact of like as part of like the dealings between like Mo and Shanks to like as well like Shanks' progress and connecting to like maybe and everything and what Shanks' plans are ahead. Future plans are to like eventually get back like that for from Lucy and give it to like and all that might be for that such an interaction that times back then. I just say was related to like to like Marita. So like you might be also using like a Blackbeard strategy as well. This might be the reason for like Blackbeard spot as well to be with like in like the past have been able to be with like like the past. Like Blackbeard as well have like having like the power to like steal another person's like common source. So I'm the perfect like devil fruit. So like I'm even that way like might have assigned the task for like Blackbeard as well, especially in the differentiation. But like I'm saying definitely since like Blackbeard has like the middle initial D in his name, like I'm saying since like the people with like the middle initial D with their name are enemies of like the sense and dragons and all that. Like so definitely I would put like Blackbeard won't be totally he down won't be at all afraid of like but like would be or would have after that meeting with like Blackbeard, which might have happened like the past time Blackbeard might have fixed in his mind that he the common fruit is like the ultimate devil fruit and basically to eventually steal the common fruit from like Lucci and for like Blackbeard to like make the pocket like the power like the common fruit and at that point for like Blackbeard to like head back to like Marijo and with like the Blackbeard pirates and like launch that Astros war and defeat Timu and that way for like Blackbeard like a serious god of becoming like king of the world might have been that mighty Blackbeard's that in that and board even to like Stephanie might have been so like my good impressions are like after like might have found out that like the number of in like the percentage look like Lucy like at that point I was like might have maybe even felt that they laid up near the friend like the ancient weapons that existed that in like the voice in the might have been all distant ancestors of like Momonosuke as well as like Shirahoshi as well as Vivi might have been the case especially my good impression. So 800 years later, one like Luffy ate like the Ramen food, like it might have been a belief the Ramen food that might have chosen Luffy, and it might have not all been like Luffy. At, even though accident choosing like the Ramen food might have not been what might have happened. Might have been like the spirit or like the soul of the giant and stuff, Joy Boy from like the words of the Like might have been his goal, ultimate goal, and his win of the to like his eventually bring down, which that very like the soul reason that the giant joy by from like the voice even though he might have been far to get less one of that he moved like the soul reason of like if not eliminating he moved back to like voice and might have been so due to lacking totally feeling like absolutely no need to like eliminate the move because of lack like superior strength might have been the case like so like I'm sure like the giant joy by might have been expecting for like if we move to like eventually give up the most like kill and some might have been for like the giant your David was like innocent half pure half might have decided and that way like I'm going like yeah like the giant joy by like the innocent might have not expected for like who like manipulate Tunisia and that way to like for Joy Boy to eventually get betrayed by Tunisia into like getting like eliminated might have been what might have happened so like the Bill of Fate might have happened right before Joy Boy's like elimination, like that last wish of like the giant Joy Boy might have ended up becoming like the will of the and like Joy Boy's sword might have been present with like within like the Gamma sword and like that way like with that power of like Joy Boy's sword like I'm assuming like it might have been the giant Joy Boy's sword within the Gamma sword that might have crossed like the Gamma sword to be able to like evade for like the past 800 years might have been what might have happened. So like I'm assuming like eventually so like I was trying like what after 30 years later, like one like 21 like and Lucy was born like like the soul was like so by but then like with the so might have been able to like sense that basically that the it that it's finally time for like the return of joy by that happen. That exact precise descendant the chosen one descendant of like the giant joy boy from like the legendary has finally been born. So like basically joy boy at that point might have the soul that in like the at that point might have realized that basically there's no more need for like to like write like a escape from email. So like that way of like eventually like Lucy ending up it might have been like the giant burger soul spirit within like the Gamma fruit that might have chosen Lucy. That way Lucy ending up eating like the Gamma fruit might have been what might have happened with the premise. So like I'm saying when I'm referring like that way but like the after like realizing that have found like the proof after like 800 years yeah like the proof being in like this position at that point self like you might also realize that they resource like the like ancient weapons as well would be making their return during like this era might be around the line like might be well and fully aware of the also actually remember everything more that way like might not track down like the descendants of like three ancient weapons like Uranus like Platon as well as like Poseidon all the way back from like the voice in the realm might have maybe like the person might have figured out that it's like 3D as well as like Shirahoshi and like Shirahoshi being Poseidon being revealed to be Poseidon like these might be definitely like Uranus definitely not for ambition. So and definitely on the train people be moving out there that will be flow on so like I'm sure even maybe even back during like the voice in the realm like I'm looking for like you might have not known like who like the third ancient weapon might be, or like the percentage that I'm looking for like maybe you might have known things like the third ancient weapon was like the proton ancient weapon being like the giant ancestor model escape from like the world century. So whose giant sword might be like the sword right next to like the skull of like one guy the limit. So yeah, like I'm just like remove to like the percent of having shown that have even by having shown like holding photos of like leading as well as I was thinking having uh not shown holding like the photo of common escape might be due to like maybe not might be connected to like the original land of Mano being in its like hidden like kind of like a situation while covered with like the walls and with like a fake land of Mano on like the dog that understanding will be only connected to maybe would be only connected to that possibly not knowing who like the first ancient member is at like the percentage that we also find different or like and to like that whole what being corrected surrounding like the original land of Mano in like the December. Maybe like that might have even happened towards like the end of like the coins in the race before like had like eliminated uh like through almost like manipulation had like for like which enjoyable illness and easily might have done that wipe out of destroying all the continents across like the world like so maybe before that I'm saying like due to like the giant and possibly having been put on like he might have only had like this leftover power might have offered him like the power to be like seen to make a future and he might have seen like the future of like basically eliminating joy by and all destruction happening. But like by the time he might have seen that future, like it might have been too late and he might have had like absolutely no idea at all like where exactly he was going was like so that he might have created like the bonding with land by maybe possibly feeding devil fruits within like and basically might have created like this stone like bonding surrounding it and it might be due to that person of like the level of the abundant level of that feel they so like each and every single point it might be the reason for like point even being indestructible because of like level of being like it might be in the case of the human remember that the giant and stuff might have created all the point creating the points when might have placed it on outside might have placed it on outside of like the land of Mano and might have erected all the diffuse walls surrounding like the original land of Mano and like a rainwater eventually like hiding like the original land of Mano. It might have been all done to have like that way once like the world would be might have rotated due to like the intensity of like secrets and everything due to like created due to like the destruction of the great number of continents of like the world by like how like once like the rotation of like the world might always happen like at that point might be that might be how like I'm looking at that point like due to like the heavy and intense like secrets and earthquakes like I'm looking like the bonding with right outside like the land of Mano might have got scattered and might have got spread like off like the world might have been what might have happened certainly might have been very yeah, like my impression of for like the road corners alone being special and being a red in color and also having that special uniqueness to it as for like each of them each of the four road corners like pointing to like last I think that basically that as well might be probably due to like the most likely due to like the unique level code that like the giant and stuff Momentos might have consciously placed placed into while creating the four round one which might be like to be like a property of like the four unique developers which would be interacting with each other. We could have that unique interaction powers like colliding with each other might be the reason for like the for road molecules that having that power of like basically pointing towards like and the for pointing towards like exactly left and regardless of like where they are moved might be the case especially might go to the ambition. So like I'm maybe solely that it might have been solely like the molecules in lab field. This calculation of phonics it may be present in lab field alone that numbers different that might have been like the only set of like phonics that like Indonesia might have a lot of phonics back upon like Indonesia eventually might have come to like the Jan and some on the scale like the Jan and on the scale before that White House might have given like Indonesia the start of like maybe of like basically and since like the Jan ancestors not since like the present day moment of the end nature can communicate without even while they are like far away like maybe such the communication might have happened between like the giant ancestors of the but using it like proton powers as well as like Indonesia as well. Such a remote communication might have happened where like we might have talked even like Indonesia like the odd to like move these like specific bonding lists around which like I'm like the giant ancestor moment of care might have placed in like a specific location and like maybe due to like the also being present within that unique developments being present within those specific modules that which might have been meant to be potentially placed in like lab tail and those modules alone might have not like not products scattered across like the world even by that the entire world might have rotated and like procedures and earthquakes like that and like the majority of like the modules or across the world might have been what might have happened and might have been Indonesia that might have taken those like those molecules that meant for by the giant and phenomenal scale for like Tunisia. And I'm the Tunisia might have probably sadly like don't account for those few molecules on its back and then different like Tunisia might have exactly found like lab test. And I'm the different like maybe those molecules that which were meant to be placed on lab test might have had such unique tools present within it during its like creation that it even by Tunisia would and those quantities might have been meant for like Tunisia to lack as much for speed laptop. So like those quantities might have had like such unique property that basically the developers with those quantities might have had such unique property that like once like Tunisia showed those quantities and travel across to like Missy, like at that point Tunisia might have totally found laptop itself that might be totally according to like the unique powers of the developers contained within like those pointers might have been what might have happened is certainly malnutrition. That way, that Tunisia might have placed all those pointers on laptop. Might have been what might have happened. Certainly might be the regression. And as for all the other pointers that it might have been through like the word of fighting and like the one getting scattered across like the word through like extreme sequence and earthquakes and everything might have been what might have happened. So like I'm maybe of like a remote possibility as well as for like the original land of Mano being hidden by those that erected walls surrounding it might be of due to that two possible reasons that maybe might have been due to open in order to that protect like coastal land of from Timo finding out about it that by placing by tracking Timo with like the fake land of creation at the top and also maybe to like protect like the destruction and prevent like the destruction of the coastal land of during like the most wide off towards the end of technology and also maybe to like literally have like the descendant of like the giant ancestor moment of scale that 800 uh, 800 lakh years into like the future through the present day moment of K1 but to have like the present day moment of K be able to like self like the uh return of joy by through Luffy at that point through that present day moment of K being able to like awaken like K1 was like in order to do that like definitely the reviews upon it that will be definitely present in as well as the grave of like the Zen and the moment of K present in like that underwater like for the land of man might be the case definitely my and it will be that realization that like the long line of descendants of that and the Mount scale 800 years into the present would is like the next person individual to like for the select the flow from powers that it will be that realization that might make it moment of grand like the flow from powers might be also the case especially my personal ambition so like might be like also what like also case of the without realizing so what like on that point was about like that for the land of Mano. I think having said that, it need that range of control don't be down there in that total land of Mano sound that will be definitely naturally might be that the phoning which that will be present there and moment of care reading that phoning with would be what would be activating like the proton valves with moment of care might be the reason for like it being said in like about that like the instrument control don't being down there or what in like that total land of Mano location might be the case that might be the and this might be the reason for like for microphone ambition that are sitting on to like even like the Ghana and people know scale before like the wipeout of like destruction of black continents across like the world like Timo like was already having even like totally sent like Toki who might be like who might have been like Ghana and phenomenal space wife Togi like with her powers to like real like traveling with like the future all the way back from like the towards the end of like the world century might have traveled all the way and like I'm different like the giant ancestor of the scale myself lied to like Topi and Myro told us about like about to that like Joy has been eliminated and about to like cosmic fall by of so like before that like that like he might have totally told Topi to like to travel agent years into like the future so that like that he has seen that agent years into like the future that Joy will be making his like return to another future so that to get the man to tell the about like and basically that way to bring down through that reincarnation of joy that will be happening in into like the future would along the lines of bring like the giant and the moment of might have told Tokyo and might have sent so to talk agent appears into like the future by like the giant phenomenon scale might have constantly like to copy so that like basically like the descendant of like the next proton could be born through phenomenon scale and because like giant phenomenon they using just like future by proton path might have seen that okay traveling agent appears into like the future and basically that way not being able to like find joy boy and basically getting married to like Gordon and having like a son phenomenon scale would be inheriting like the proton path and that son would be eventually ending up like seeking the help of like Joy Boy uh, through asking like the help of Lucci and basically that playing a role in like eventually like the journey of like Joy Boy eventually ending up with like Joy Boy realizing that he moves like the villain and basically at that point of like the that descendant moment of state and abuse of like the victim having eventually awakening his like proton path and having a future role to play in that final war against like Mu and like army which will be eventually bring down like bring down the move. Might be along the lines of bring like the and non might have foreseen for like the fight. Might be the days definitely might impressions might have been all that might have happened in the past definitely not for him. So like basically in short like my good emphasis that like basically with like having shown having created like the past of like holding on to like this photo as well as like BD's photo like I'm referring definitely in like the reverie like definitely I'm after like the reverie like BD disappearing as well as like Sharavati as well. I'm referring like the case of Sharavati might have been like one place like there was that like people might have totally used like like the elimination of one play like there might have been sees or like I'm different maybe using like fact and like I'm like people might have even Blackbeard at that point itself, Black basically even infiltrating into Black Timber Down. That as well might have been the secret code that Blackbeard had played according to like most photos as well. Also like a possibility that I was referring because like uh people might have realized like the presence of Black Play in like in Timber Down and then maybe that Blackbeard back then might have before eliminating Play like Blackbeard might have even stolen taken away Black Play also as well. Might have been what might have happened. So like that as well might have happened. So like and that way like Blackbeard might have according to like most orders might have even delivered like one place like so to like to one of like the Navy admirals or something might have happened. So like that way like might have got of like one place like so and might have according to like most orders usually number dependent one of like the Navy subordinates might have uh, it's a wrong place like also and I'm looking like so such a manner I'm looking like like the like I'm doing like according to like most like master plan like I'm doing during like the like I'm sure how she might not have got have that so that has to stay and I'm looking like one of like the native subordinate using like one place level so might have changed his appearance to making him of her in the like Shirahoti and might have correct like in German and might have that one like in German around the brothers might have head back up and like Baravari to send the Fishman Island at that point that the Shirahoti that was with them might be not like not even like the Shirahoti might be also the data for like what might have happened in like the past certainly also might be so that we have to like after thing Budi as well as Shirahoti like during like February might have been what might have happened. So and then being updated as well might be for like remote to like use that to like only create like the ultimate like cyber which would be having like the power of like technician weapon might be the case in understand. So like in the front maybe currently like both Budi as well as like Shirahoshi as well might be currently present somewhere deep within like Technical Island in like the lab, actual true lab of like weapon of the real weapon in like Metal Island might be the case definitely might be the case. So like weapon right now would be on like the process of like creating that ultimate cyber for like it will be having like possibly like the power of like the power of like the instant weapon that really as well as surrounding might be the case is definitely might be present. So like it might be due to this reason then this possibly be going on or like maybe creating a certain extent might be the reason for like even right now even giving back the weapon as like previous like ultimate creation of like cyborg which should be like this Kuma cyborg with like the wings and everything might be the case definitely might be. So like right now like the person will be feeling as like has absolutely no need for like that previous cyber creation of like welcome. More they don't excited for like the latest create cyber creation of like welcome which will be offering like the power of like the ancient weapons of the as well as Shirahoshi. So like even while Shirahoshi as well as Vivi has not mastered or like while Vivi might not even know of like her being like an ancient weapon and while Shirahoshi even though I think it has like control like the freaking ones or something like but still like and the one like Vegapunks might have started experimenting on TV as well as therapy like and the Vegapunks might have been able to like access like the ancient weapon powers contained within them and to create his like ultimate cyber. So like I'm doing that weapons would be in such a process and move it all excited about like and getting like the ultimate like cyber eventually. So like Kuma might also be that like give back like the previous like Kuma like ultimate cyber of that weapon might have given to like to like the navy ship. Might have been what might have happened. But like this might be what might be happening right now. And I'm just bring like the Kuma like cyber would be cyber like puzzle that would with the wings and everything would be so extremely powerful that I'm going to find that with that like weapon might not be having any need at all of like the six split up like that like big form cyber forms of like weapon right now like the person will be having absolutely need no need at all for that one like weapon will be getting that weapon like Kuma like cyber of like the wings and everything might be the case certainly might be the image like that one might have told the Slack it's just to like the Navy and so like I'm looking that way like definitely I'm looking for like the Navy might have told us to like maybe like when elders and the elders might have make it and so like that way like I'm looking like but like currently like the CV0 members like Lucci as well as like Turbo as well as Lucci like along with like the ultimate cyber of like uh, but like the ultimate cyber of like Kuma like bring them to like exit island to like auto deliver while delivering Kuma auto to like eliminate those six cyber creation of like the satellite forms of like Vegapunk like that as well might have been due to like maybe while the navy ship in like the past might have showed up to like transport the Kuma like ultimate like creation of like Vegapunk to Timo like at that point I was like definitely among like the six satellite creation of like Vegapunk cyber creation of Vegapunk like the most brilliant one might have happened to like freeze this like transportation which like Vegapunk might have tried to like transport through a stealthy manner. So that most brilliant among like the six satellite might have seen this and might have realized that like without that maybe like without necessarily like Webpunk might try to like discard that might be along the lines like I'm saying that one among like the six cyber satellite of like Webpunk might have figured and so like that cyber of like that single satellite or cyber might have what might have done might have been it might have like but its surveillance might have undone like the connectivity and control that the original weapon might have had on like the six satellite link, weapons might have been what might have happened. And like that way that disconnection might have happened and like that might have been what might have happened. And that way since then like the original weapon might have lost control over like that might have been that disconnection button to select the weapon might have so the weapon might have usually had while creating like the six satellite to which like so the weapon might have lost access to since then due to like the most brilliant among like the six satellite weapons doing such a thing might and that way destroying the connection between the weapons and like the six uh, cyborg like satellite weapons might have been what might have happened and this might be the reason for like so like definitely everything like six satellite weapons will be doing right now to be on their own independent manner might be the case definitely military and probably for like maybe like for like those weapons being not at all that much strong even though while being extremely brilliant that might not be that strong that like so when weapons would be when daring to that by um those weapons was like who might be a woman by the name Stella would be daring at all to like actually by herself like try to like eliminate those things that like exploiting but might be the case certainly by the friends. So like that way like the Navy might have been like the Civil War might have been assigned with like the task to like eliminate like the six cyborg satellite cyborg versions of like weapon might have been what might happen. That's definitely my good image. So like the sport collision and clash with like the sport empires right now already being sent in like Egghead Island as well as like the Secret Zero members like the mission to like eliminate those six satellite forms of like weapons on the way to like Egghead Island. There was a total fight and a clash happening, which will be eventually resulting in like eventually towards the conclusion of that fight and slowly protecting like these six satellite weapon forms cyber forms of like weapon on the front, usually ending up being part of like the Sporehead Force like army, usually will be ending up being on the side of the Sporehead Force army, and after will be usually part of like that Sporehead Force Grand Fleet army. With like presence with white like towards the very end while like just one holding fighting off against like the most huge army like at that point I'm probably something like these six uh satellite forms of like weapons would be only fighting on the side of like the Sporehead was correct was farming like same scenario that I'm saying. So like basically a consumer with them is shooting on to slowly pretty like so like the current experiment of like the original weapon might be like an ultimate like an ultimate like cyborg which would be containing like which should be like containing like the power of like both two ancient weapons like of like the power of like DD as well as like the rubber sheet might be the case like so weapon right now would be like the process of like creation of that uh, ultimate like cyber might be the case. So like I'm trying due to the silicon cell I'm trying like the original lab of like I'd like the original lab of like the original web of the spring like both series as well as like Sharanofi might be in like some kind of like a situation. Might be like the accuracy of any situation like the person is definitely my determinant. So like what like so will be literally making it to like web point on the thing that have the shop that will be lying away for them would be only them so they are that point running into really as well as Sharanofi at that point is like the scenario that I'm bringing up. Okay, so then looking at the same mission right now is that like even though Lucci right now the only things that like the current mission is to like eliminate that Vegapunks like and the current definitely that we won't do like actually affect the case of the mission especially manufacturing because like the because of certainly manufacturing that is sitting on the that basically currently that the thing satellite forms of like weapon will be only acting in like an independent and disconnected manner to like the original weapon. So like I'm going to be only to like Lucci and also something the two typical government was like totally think that like they are all forms and like forms of that the origin weapon that like they will be only thing that if they eliminate once they will be eliminating like those six forms of that split up forms of black weapon at that point like weapon as the social weapon has been to be automatically getting eliminated be along the lines and that to see and the two of them will be the only thing right now it's definitely my consideration but like that definitely won't be the case it's definitely my consideration because like order the higher would have given to like if you remember to like actually just like eliminate those six like satellite forms of the that's the scenario that I'm giving. So like even while like those even if those six satellite forms of like weapons will be getting eliminated, like even at that point we have will be still surviving and certainly I'm looking like you might definitely move north, neither you north but elders will be having absolutely no plan at all. I'd like eliminating like the original weapon at all. Certainly I'm three so that means might be a favor that like the elders might have given might have decided to like go to like weapon in exchange for like weapon directly in like possibly in like some sort of like creating like that ultimate cyber which will be contained which will be possessing like the powers of that the ancient weapon of that powers of like which might be contained within that TV as well as the other thing might be the case of certainly my personal interest. So that belief might be solely to and this might be the reason for like Kaku being so extremely concerned about like not destroying anything at like the level 3 at like anything at like Head Island like to ensure to like eliminate all this like six with the forms of like weapons but also like ensuring to like not do any damage to like a Head Island as well as like them as part of their mission them even have like given the task to like return that Kuma like cyber with like the wings to exit island like American this would work all due to like the higher from that the elders was already knowing that basically it being possibly like a favor that the elders should be doing to that their on to only get rid of like what way to be only thing as like an absolute nuisance and the something that absolutely and absolutely no need at all for like satellite forms of like weapon. Due to like them currently most likely saving themselves by like remove the connection from like them and like weapon and that way like weapon by the causing like the deactivate button to like eliminate like all six of like weapons like split up from like that button might have not got but that function might have not got what using like one of the six forms of satellite forms weapon having figured the possible upcoming attempt of like weapons to like those weapons to like to fight and deactivate them. So like each of these response will be only in a different manner. So like to eliminate this like weapon might have solved the health of like the health of might have been what might happen. So it like so like this will be more that will be happening right now. That limit 300. And also from weapons point of view, like weapon will be totally absolutely something that basically definitely that single such to Kuma like cyborg with like coming would be single handedly will be able to like destroy and take out like all six of like weapons and like the satellite spread up form is definitely might be the range. So like the CPU of members as well going along with that might be as one to like the elders orders to like to complete deliver that like satellite to deliver that like Kuma like cyber form like cyber creation of like weapons with like the wings as well as to like maximize like basically like the elimination of them those six like the athletic forms of like weapon might be like the only cases that you might regret still lack of the weapon as well as like the type and the connection and the forms of like the original weapon as well as like with the elders will be still remaining strong. As well as like Imo as well would be definitely even right now would be having that absolute need for like weapon and wouldn't be wanting to like at all eliminate weapons at all. Certainly my difference. From weapons point of view like there will be few will only Stella would be like the actual weapons name and so few will only seeing that this split up comps are absolutely useless and basically as of like no more need to like Stella. So like Stella would be only want a single Kuma uh like cyber alone to be there in like Epic Island to do all the work of like the actual personal welcome Stella might be the case that leak might be very much. But this would be more like currently the actuality of like the mission uh, actuality of like the mission of like the people who are members right now about which like the people who are members themselves would be having absolutely no clarity or idea about might be the case that we want to get. Also definitely my preparation right now with like Lucci and like see the members like assuming that like eliminating the 6 points of like weapons will be enough causing the weapons elimination as well as it totally having a connection to like the person of the Lucci. That definitely won't be at all the case at all. Definitely my very impression because like even in the case of like the destruction of like Lucia, the fact that Evo was able to like so swiftly spoil like the entire island of like Lucia just to like prevent Sabo from revealing like Imo's name or like even seeing Imo to track it and the other thing like the command of that in the like and the fact that was able to do that with such speed would be would be having like absolutely no connection at all to like any ancient weapon power to thing like cyborg or anything in like definitely kind of thing. It would be just like sheerly and slowly removes power of like removes ultimate power of like the third eye. Using the which like might have totally instantly wiped out like when you look at kingdom from the sky using like removes like third eye which might have been like might have hovered over and appeared over like the clouds of like green clouds of like Lucia back then the like huge eye might have appeared beyond the cloud and might have been from that also power of like third eye of like that like those laser beams might have shot out to that Lucian and after like Lucian might have been the end might have been the third and like the fact that Lucian is like allied to the world government is like an age that's like allied to like the world government will be a whole huge factor in this because like that league might have like multiple forms of like Lucian in the masculine like just by using like third eye power of like Lucian of like in his frame. So while holding up by looking at like the picture of like photos of like Lucian alone might have been more than enough for like to like execute that quick and instant destruction of like the taking steps before even Sabo could like release that about emotion that like might have been definitely what might have happened is definitely might was into it. Also definitely I'm still thinking of my book for impression that like why like the strongest level force to like ever exist might have definitely been like the number the awakened the actual full strength of like the awakened Gundam force to be like the actual strongest might be like the actual strongest level force to ever exist. But like I'm referring like the second strongest level force to ever exist might be the most like level force like main level force among like a whole set array of like a great number of levels of involved only possible solely due to like being immortal, like you might be able to like possess and he as many and attain the power of like as many resources as like wants might be the case with like yeah like I'm talking like main level focus actually lack the third eye develop power of like the laser eye develop power of like the third eye might be the case and that develop might be like the second strongest develop to ever exist might be the case it might be definitely using that power that single develop alone that might have so quickly and easily might have destroyed like the entirety of that little kingdom might be what might have happened to even the something or other. So yes, so like but neighbors to the range so right now just like look right now seeing like a Kuma like a robot so this robot kind of thing as like a third island and but that could be only once like a different right now for like the people like from jump towards like Kuma like police robot and like it will be at that point that I become like that police Kuma like a robot but it's like sensor like it will be like a movie as like no any habitat of like sector island come during at that point like alarm thing, the huge alarm happening like person out of that application program. It would be only at that point that I'm looking for right now that for to be only at that point that the original section, the original way of function from within like the very top of like the experts will be even realizing about like the intro of certainly like in the scenario that I'm trying and I'm the reason will be like due to lag considering like the recent thing most likely due to lag currently like the island being totally run by independent those six satellite like better forms of like from like I'm to them that will be like for like while that would have been like independently without any without taking any order from the coordinates from like to give them like independently those six better forms that will be independently running that island certainly by the branch so like while the back of the weapons might be in like a corner like kind of situation like in like the very top of like the structure of like the head island building like there but the weapon will be doing this like experiment but like I'm something like tough experiment like I'm definitely and this will be the reason for like definitely I'm looking like these six forms satellite forms of weapon will be acting independently might have been acting independently for a while but like the one of the most brilliant one among the questions forms like probably in like the past having cut off like that connected of each of them to weapon might have been the case like because of like for same like weapon trying to deactivate that so like that way weapon being in this like Stella would be weapon within like situation and so we will do like for the six forms like acting in an independent manner that like in the event like mention like the word Stella in front of like the right hope as well. Certainly which would be like the real name of like the name and height like the origin weapon. It's definitely my to the rank. So like I'm going to be able to written that like I'm bring that weapon would be so the straight to like virtual weapons then I would be able to straight to like not only take exact control over like over like the entire like second island but also would be the straight to like eliminate and deactivate and eliminate and destroy all the forms of like weapon because of like the because of the like Kuma versions like cyber that like the people members are like putting towards like Excel Island like basically but that type of like there will be absolutely no need at all for like the Twitter forms of like Mason specifically due to that Kuma like cyber form like the will be not only be able to like do everything all the six forms of like where will be able to do but like will be able to do way much more than that. Definitely my better impression. So like that way like I'm totally something like for like Lucci right now the most creating like jumping up towards like and trying to talk to that woman like police robot and that cutting into like huge alarm thing. Only at that point like what will be happen even realizing about like controllers and that with this alarm and like a bunch of like security robots that it could be something like was like and island to be like capturing that Lucy as well as Chopper as well as Jinde and putting them into like any kind of situation in like some specific location within like a dynamic like Naruto direction where like I'm doing like the remaining among like the like split up forms of like weapon like and will be showing up along with like Shanta will be like showing up to that lab like area from the like islands are like Lucy and Jinbei and so on will be in like a different kind of situations like the scenario that I'm trying and I'm also very like and I'm also very like eventually for like scenario to be like the remaining Prohead group members in like 2020 close to like Texas Island like I'm looking like by the time eventually they will be making it to towards like Texas Island like and like them as well I'm looking only running into that some situation where like I'm looking like alarm will be ringing again and at that point I'm looking like the a bunch of like the uh six like split up forms of like weapon like I'm looking a bunch of them like probably showing up to and like will be and I'm looking maybe at that point like a total fight happening with like those remaining stuff at that as well as those split up forms of like weapon and I'm looking maybe it came during this time that I'm looking like finding like the team of like Rob Lucci and like the two security members along with like the Kuma like uh ultimate cyborg with like wings would be showing up and I'm looking like at that point like the CPR members Lucci had like at that point the like the squad had four like majority of them like that point like sponsoring like Lucci and Kaku that making their return like they'll be fairly shocked and fight at that point and then like the fight happening and like in that fight like I'm looking like while the squad had the majority of them like at that point you did a really trying to like bring down like Lucci and Kato, the team of like Lucci, Kato, and Lucci, those like so it's like that time like I'm looking back about like that Kuma like ultimate robot was like the wings would be having its fight against like those six split up forms of like Vegapunk will be acting independently at that point. So like the fight between those two forms of like Vegapunk and like that Kuma like ultimate of what the things happening on one side and like that on the other side like on the like the fight between like the majority of like the remaining squad group versus like the team of like Lucci as well as cartoon will be happening. That's like the scenario that I'm looking at. And I'm looking like eventually for like the scenario to be that one like that Kuma like a robot will be far superior is stronger than like the combined of like these six split up forms of like weapons. So like I'm thinking like eventually once like those eventually I'm going to bring it to be one those like Kuma like a robot would be about to eliminate like one among like those six uh, one among those around to split up forms of like weapons and I'm going to maybe it change like at like the giant uh, that I'm looking and that very last second is when I'm looking like the team of like Luffy sort of as well as Jinbei will be finding be able to like break out of that person. And I'm looking but they will be in like some kind of state like I'm looking like a total interaction happening between like the Luffy the team of like Luffy sort of as well as like Jinbei and like the those like the majority among like the six split up forms of like weapons that like bringing to the like so then eventually I'm going to like the Kuma like a robot will be about to like eliminate like the giant robot at the like I'm going to that in the seconds when I'm going to being Lucy that will be showing up to the scene along with like Jim Bench and it will be like Lucy that will be stopping the attack incoming powerful attack powerful attack of like the Kuma like robot of like the Funari that I'm going to saving at that point like the Funari that and at that point I'm going to bring like definitely like the remaining with the forms of like weapon when you are acting independently at that point you can only see like the fight group as if like they are on their side like the Panari side of everything. And that way then those split up forms deciding to like team up and join the like the fight group in that fight against like the Roma like robot and like the trio of like was either the members of like Lucy as well as that of trio of like the team of like Lucy as well as Lucy as well as like cartoon like the Panari side of everything. And that way like I'm like usually the fight ending up like Luffy defeating like Luffy to the remember and then the like fight definitely has probably happening between like Frankie and like that Kuma like ultimate robot as well as like the scenario that I'm like definitely there will be Frankie as well as like a bunch of like professional members that fighting against like that Kuma like a robot and that one is like the scenario that I'm and the colleagues Lucci as well as like Chicago as well would be sent by maybe Sanji as well as Robin. It's also like a possibility that I'm exploring. Or like Nami as well be going in on that fight and all like those in the scenario that I'm looking. But like I'm looking for like maybe for like the scenario to be that by the time that that fight will be over and destroyed through along with like with the forms of like the will be nothing victorious like in that fight like I'm thinking at that point, by then, like them probably realizing that it's not Kuma, but it's Kuma, and then by the time at that point, like Bonnie as well would be there, and they would be like an extinct race. Bonnie as well as Strike would be like after that, a big player on that fight would be like going to like that building the top floor of like that expert shop of that Second Island, where like they were only expecting the to be there, like I'm by then, like I'm looking back from there, like I'm tripping, like they will be think that they will finally able to like catch up and like at that point is when by the time they will be making it to that top floor and the spring maybe also like a possibility of like sense of the would be like most likely seeing the but like at that point like the moment they will be making it there like I'm putting weapons only there will be a spacecraft in that top floor and like I'm putting like probably opening up of like that structure and operation of like structure and I'm looking like the spaceship like on a spaceship like I'm looking like where like the proactive group and all of them will be having that shocking surprise of like not only seeing weapon but like them also shocking seeing that Sharabi as well as like really as well in like any some kind of like situation on that spaceship as like weapons would be like straight away as they would make in their like weapons would be like straight away taking off with the spaceship and like escaping from Egghead Island. Like suppose the weapons that way would be like still that would be like a woman like would be totally escaping from like the Egghead Island at that point. It's like along with like any persons like really as well as Sarah on that spaceship is like the scenario that I'm looking for right now for him. Okay, so like, but we have a preemption right now with what line Lucy right now. So only with this like higher levels of current higher levels of party powers like only running away from like the police like Kuma and to bring folks that we due to this higher party powers of like Lucy right now, Lucy might be able to also sense that it's not like the original Kuma as well. It's also like about that and this might give us also reason for like Lucy probably even taking the decision to like run away from Kuma rather than go straight up to like Kuma, even if like Lucy might have uh, Luffy had sent like the Buggy like it targeting them like still like the fact that Luffy is not even trying to their same Kuma that's a long time like the fact that Luffy is not even going up towards like Kuma trying to see if that Kuma recognize them like said like Luffy totally given the decision and order to like run away from Kuma. I'm looking it might be due to like that's a bit of happy mouse like it might be totally in sense that's not like the original Kuma. It's definitely my opinion. It's just another type of in like Texas Island. It's just taking the shape, put like the same lookalike as that Kuma. To do one thing that Luffy might have been able to like sense with like Luffy. Might have already been able to sense because like the Luffy's like I am happy about might be the case in the Fleeman direction. But like I'm certain that definitely won't be the case with like what Bonnie with like I'm looking like due to Bonnie not having the same levels of happy about that of Luffy. Like I'm looking Bonnie on seeing and especially with like Kuma I think it's like Bonnie's like father like I'm especially Bonnie on seeing like the Kuma on specifically on like Bonnie would be actually noticing that the robot that the type of that expectation that is actually like exactly can I guess that of like, Kuma like I'm doing Bonnie straight away, assuming that like it's her father Kuma and I'm afraid like Bonnie that certainly like Bonnie stopping from running away from like that cyborg Kuma like cyborg against that Bonnie trying going up towards that cyborg trying to like make like the cyborg recognize Bonnie without Bonnie realizing that like no that Kuma her father. It's like it might be the case the film and the future. And this is like the scenario such as that I'm describing. And that way like it's only due to that Bonnie that action of like Bonnie and like of stopping from running away from like the Kuma like Robert and the different like Lucy only feeling as if like he has no other choice but to like stop that Kuma like the Robert. So like that number friend would be what they are resulting in like Lucy as well as the group of like due to that action of Bonnie like I'm becoming like Lucy. The group of like Lucy so as well as Jimbe as well along with like Bonnie getting captured. Because like I'm remembering like multiple Soma like robots most likely showing up so that great delay to that exact spot while Bonnie would be really trying to like make that human like police robot understand that is the that is like Bonnie thinks it's like her father like at that point I'm remembering like Bonnie getting a bigger shock with like multiple Soma like robot like appearing from all sides and basically that would be how like both that Bonnie, Luffy, so Ranjin there will be getting captured and getting put into like an immersive kind of like situation in like a island. There's like things and scenarios that I'm just bringing over here. Okay, so like please don't pay attention right now with like Luffy right now, like a challenge towards like the Kuma, like the robot fight, like fight it, like Bonnie is like serious and like shocked and emotional. Like I'm definitely right now for like I'm like basically about to make it towards like Larry could like attacking like the robot like Kuma, like I'm looking like Bonnie for me like charging in towards like Luffy and attacking Luffy. That's the scenario that I'm looking at. That attack from unexpected attack from spawning on Lucy and Lucy Frank would be resulting in like them all without the creating like getting captured because like I'm shooting multiple Kuma like without the creating like showing up and capture them. And I'm looking the reflecting the scenario that is sitting on the screen. Okay, so like definitely my the impression right now with Black Bonnie fearfully revealing that we must that only family that we have that and with Black Kuma having been part of like the revolutionary army like the past like so definitely my the impression that like in the past like definitely have the preferring like it might have been safe to like the action realistic actions of like one of like the celestial dragons that I'm referring that's island or like the entire island in which like Bonnie and Kuma might have initially lived with her family with her mother and with the relatives and everyone. Like I'm thinking that entire island might have been visited by a celestial dragon at that in like the past at one point, and like I'm looking like to that Venusic celestial dragon, like not just like some some slight some it's like the convenience like that celestial dragon might have had on that island. Like I'm looking like that celestial dragon might have faded away given the orders to like completely destroy that island might have been what might have happened, and that way might have been how that Bonnie might have lost her mother as well as her entire family and everyone on that island. And I'm sure like in that attack, like it might have been only Kuma as well as Bonnie alone that might have managed to like escape that destruction of that island might have been what might have happened. So like I'm sure Kuma might have taken killed Bonnie, and Kuma just might have barely managed to like escape that island which in this land everyone might have gone on like eliminated might have been what might have happened but this might have been real in like the past in like Bonnie's backstory might have been what might have happened to certainly not real. So like after like escaping from that island like from that Kuma along with that Bonnie might have been out of that sheer coincidence alone like like Kuma and Bonnie might have ended up in that the revolution ended up crossing paths with like the revolutionary army might have been what might have happened to like microhungary and Russian. Some that they keep running like as like Bonnie might have grew up with like Kuma at like that way at like the revolutionary army days like that. So people like maybe at that point eventually as like Bonnie grew up like Bonnie might have decided to like be the revolutionary army. And I'm preferring like the sole reason might have been due to that maybe because it proved like hero transporters or something like back then Bonnie was young like Bonnie possibly having maybe witness like telecast of like the execution of black water uh, might be what might have happened. So like I'm putting the One Piece like for the even shouting out about like the One Piece and like basically how much like Robin I mean like Bonnie might have noticed how much like for the event telling about like the One Piece had scared like the world government. Might be along the lines that Bonnie might have spent so like after like Bonnie might have decided to like only set off from like the revolutionary army base to like find like the One Piece because like the world government fears like the One Piece so much and basically think like from one point of view going and might have been only believing that like the sensitive dragons alone that like affect them as like the world around. So that definitely Tony might have felt that they'll be finding like she but say able to like find like the One Piece like there might be some sea that might be on finding like the One Piece that might allow her to be able to actually easily bring down like the sensitive dragons and like the world. There might be along the lines like Bonnie might have felt and maybe this might be how like Bonnie might have set up from like the base like the revolutionary army while Kuma might obviously repeatedly want like repeatedly told Bonnie to like not leave, but like I'm saying like leave as like Bonnie grew up like Bonnie maybe as Bonnie as well might have reached like 20 or 18 like I'm saying like Bonnie might have stuck to his like doors and might have stayed well left might have told Kuma that she will take her own path to like basically different about like the destruction of the dragon. So like I'm just saying that way like Bonnie might have disobeyed Kuma and might have set up and might have that way injury ended up becoming one of like the lost generation. Might have been what might have happened. This is like the possibilities that I'm looking at. And might have and my and I'm looking has like Bonnie grew up like during that time like I'm saying, that might be when like Sabu as well might have been present and training in like the revolutionary army days. So like this might be how like maybe even since back when like Bonnie might have known about like the other possibility that I'm doing. And like the takes different possibility that I'm looking for like the God my contribution from the it might have been that the connection dividends with sense of dragon due to like just bit of like inconvenience like might have given the order to that destroy like the entire like the home island where like Bonnie the home island of like Bonnie and like all of the Bonnie family as well as like Kuma and all of them like and that way also while Kuma and Bonnie's mother and Bonnie might have been trying to like escape from that island like during its like destruction and during one of the explosions might have separated three of them might have been what might have happened. But they were trying to like escape like that island. Might have been what might have happened and that way through that explosion and that Bonnie's mother by trying to like protect Bonnie might have gotten like um, eliminated due to like the effect of like the explosion. So like I'm doing Kuma as well as that Bonnie, all of them might have got separated and so like I'm doing that way. Kuma might have only searched up for like Bonnie and might have not been able to like find it. So like I'm doing Kuma might have been forced to like escape because of that uh the explosions they are like that being of that getting so close to the Kuma was like I'm doing Kuma might have been an extremely fearful Kuma might have been forced to like escape and all the films were to like escape and that's why with that absolute bizarre in his like mind to like definitely cause like that destruction of like a sensory dragon and basically like Kuma might have give like I'm using that Kuma might have only points place your points might have planning to like suddenly happen might have been what might have happened and maybe in the case of Bonnie like I'm saying that the Bonnie as well might have barely managed to escape while Bonnie's mother might have got eliminated to like Bonnie like managed to like escape on her own might have been what might have happened while getting split with like Kuma due to that whole was and everything. So like Bonnie still managed to like survive and like I might have watched the show on like some island and that way like after Bonnie eventually might have grew up without having by having absolutely no one looking after her like and Bonnie might have struggled her way into through that through hunger and everything like a Bonnie might have fought her way into like usually growing up and eventually might have ended up becoming deciding to like join deciding to like end up becoming a viral and basically that way and Bonnie might have decided to like eventually find like the One Piece because like Bonnie by then might have been whenever aware as like how much like the world government fears like the One Piece like Bonnie as well might have seen that whole institution of like all the and the different that way Bonnie might have ended up becoming like one of like the first generation of uh, one of like the first generation like Bonnie might have ended up in such a manner. Certainly what might have happened is certainly my question. And maybe like if that's the case then maybe it might have been later on that like Bonnie might have even realized that like Kuma was like a part of Kuma had survived and he's like only part of like the revolutionary army and all that like the possibilities that are visible for an friend. So like the name of the mention right now that's what like location of the huge cloud and thunder were like and it's like through heading towards like definitely that location might be exactly where Lucia it might have destroyed Lucia. Definitely not the premise. So like definitely the reason for like no even like about the member will be going there right now would be for due to like definitely since like up like the one of up like since like kid as well as no were soon like saying that their next target is like that person with like the burn scar. So like that would definitely be Sabo and especially since like before like Sabo and like those 3 or 4 like revolutionary army members had basically showed up to like the to Marijo to like save Kuma like since it was like the revealed that basically the Sabo was spotted at like Lucia before that therefore attack on like Marijo to like save Kuma. And considering about this information that like Sabo before that, therefore in preparation to like Mariga during like February and everything that before that like Sabo was seen in like Indonesia about that information that we might have got hold of that information. Yet like I'm bringing into the person like might be totally unaware of that the kingdom of Indonesia that in their country being wiped out stepping into the Indonesia. So low right now as low is like right now heading towards the cloud like location of like like low will be totally might be totally expecting that beyond that cloud and those thunder like everything into the sea kingdom. So like I'm doing pretty that surprise that will be dying away for like no there. And on top of that, like I'm doing definitely with like Blackbeard right now as well. Like basically talking about like here comes the prayer like I'm looking like Blackbeard will be right now they're referring to love himself. It's definitely my different thing. But like from Blackbeard's point of view, like Blackbeard will be only expecting that easily after like Wano law would be like heading over to Indonesia kingdom would be around the lines Blackbeard as well. They only expecting because like definitely even from Blackbeard as well will be might have got hold of that information and that basically Sabo was like enough in before like Sabo's inspiration to like Marigo to like stay Kuma like Sabo was like last quarter at like Indonesia and like what this information Blackbeard as well to be knowing having gotten hold of this information as well, especially my different so and I'm remembering so like that there might have thought that basically on the lines of like basically after like one of the league like for as for like the final road chronicle is definitely like Blackbeard as well might have thought that along the lines of like basically the final road chronicle. So let's say final road chronicle most likely would be hidden somewhere within like Marija. Might be along the lines Blackbeard might have felt. So like I'm saying just the reasons like kid as well as all of them are like on this race to like find like the final road chronicle to find like that way to find like One Piece and that kind like different like they might have only expected that basically the for like to like most likely like upper one of might totally swap to like Lucia to search for Sabo looking for Sabo might be along the lines like and to ask Sabo if like during Sabo's preparation to like Marigo Sabo had seen like the road chronicle there or not to find out this information from like if the like about one like if someone has seen about one weapon like Marinja or not. Uh, to find out about this information definitely in that and all the next trying to like looking for like Sabo in like they will get all the lines like Blackbeard might also be uh came down to like the conclusion of definitely what might have happened. And this might be the reason for like Blackbeard right now as well would be might have been way shaped like and at the time so that during that whole war in one of while it was taking place on the different that maybe Blackbeard might have only expected until to like the presence of Lucy that and the Blackbeard might have only expected for like the defeat of that Cairo and Pigmont as well. Might have been what might have happened certainly when the preemption because like Blackbeard even back then might have known that like Lucy like Jumbo Group is like extra special might have been the case of the league might have preemption. It's because of like according to my information, definitely which is this like in like the basket was like revealed for like remove totally holding support of Blackbeard as well at like an earlier point in like the house. So like definitely not for like to get hands on like the amount for like I'm saying like like in chance if like continuous question might have also someone's Blackbeard as well at one point in like the past might have been what might have happened. So like I'm saying that's what you might have done might have been like might have you might be having like a whole array of like a whole lot of like powers that like so related to like having like very so that might have concerned itself might have straight away to land immortality might have been what might have happened especially if I don't impression so to those being like anymore might be the case like might be like keep as many resources as want so like might be having a whole array of like and then like powers that limit the future and one of those powers would be for like to like look at like the photo uh, of like a location or like even a person and basically you will be able to like straight away spot that person where exactly he is in the world might be the case of the kind of world. But like back when like you had like looked at like the photo of like there in like the past from a region like at that point in time like you might have totally located like that location or like where it was at that point and Emo might be also having kind of a favorite power with which that Emo might be able to like instantly teleport like the person that Emo has located towards like in might have been might be also the case with Mino for instance. Like that way Emo might have like the past might have like located and teleported Blackbeard towards like Emo and Emo might have that and it might be only at that point that Blackbeard might have even seen might be even being to move or even knowing about like the sense of like the gap and like this awkward gap and like the existence of like and all that like there might have been a relation at that point certainly not and might have made the obvious that like possibly really strong up than like them and people might have probably might have unleashed most like hard or might have been what might have and people might have like totally threatened to like eliminate Blackbeard if Blackbeard doesn't listen to like the orders of Timo and that Timo might have told Blackbeard that Emo needs like the Ramon code and basically Emo wants Blackbeard to like so he uses the source power to totally use Blackbeard like the source power to like totally get like the Ramon code from Luffy and bring it towards like things might be along the lines of like the order that Emo might have told to like Blackbeard might have been more than the happens certainly under the condition but and like even by the movement we having like a set array of like a great number of development powers like still you might definitely not be having like the power of black face development of like being able to like feel another person's development that for like you won't be having certainly member protection. So like especially because of this rate when I don't like and would be having no other choice but to like depend on like what's trying to like there to like easily get entering. I just want among them to like easily get entering that the government of like ability towards like might have been the case, especially my preparation. People might have been also afraid of necessarily like you thinking most that powers to like probably teleport and bring Luffy and 6% Luffy in like Marija. Even though so as well, might have only might have something that you might have been only afraid to do because like at that point he would be like only fearful of that Nemo factor situation might have probably fought off against like the original giants and might have embarrassingly lost against like the overwhelming superior strength of like the awakened so powers of like the awakened German of like the giant joy going like that people might have been only afraid of like the Gamun food that like I'm sure like people might have also thought of like that and basically personally Luffy in like Moringa but like even then like you might have felt that they really that might result in like Luffy on top of that realizing like like the minute or like putting Luffy in like an different kind of situation might cause like that Luffy to get extremely enraged to like the point of like maybe Luffy is like putting in like Luffy awakening like Luffy like also and that being that way being able to have the full potential and power of like the giant Durable from like the words in the and that way like Luffy is only attacking him and that way possibly even scoring Timo might be also that fear that like Timo might have had because like even by Timo might be the Morpheus, he won't be invincible and Timo for Timo to be invincible that Timo from the point of view who we're only think that like not for him to be also invincible on top of not that Timo to be invincible like to definitely be needing like the Gamma will be along the lines like the power of the Gamma will be along the lines will be thing of the limit. So definitely my good redemption that way like moving like the might have assigned Blackbeard to staff as well. So like I'm right now with like in like the person like Blackbeard right now most likely is going up two words like well as like because like that would be also and Blackbeard even falling it would be known that like Blackbeard would be right now falling as well like right. So like I'm student what Blackbeard will be right now though it might be to like the reason for like Blackbeard right now targeting might have been to definitely solely due to lack of being able to like grant more having like the possibility to like grant mortality which like the flamingo had revealed back in like all the way back in like was what like I'm considering it to be that about that like I'm sure Blackbeard as well by now would be when I'm fully aware of it's definitely member because like there would definitely be like books containing like detailing out like the powers of like the level all sorts of devil force. So like in that book as well, and like that book as well, and the French most like it would be like written according to like the orders and everything supposed that he might have set up. So that like I'm thinking in that book as well, like the Lucci's doctor might be written as like Jam so and on the true name of that which is so as well as like in those in that books that like all the devil and like also be detailed out like lost also and like the fact that like doctors with can grant immortality that as well might have been some done in it. It's definitely my favorite. So like this might be the reason that like if right now would be the space to that contain immortality rather than risking like stealing and rather than risking going straight towards like Lucy and defeating Lucy and trying to like steal that become unproved and like definitely like there would be like not afraid of him also like Blackbeard plan to be to like the due to like having that three initial in like Blackbeard name so like Blackbeard as well would be descendant of like the Janjo by and like the version that so like so due to that reason Blackbeard as well would be feeling that fear towards like but like Blackbeard would be thing of like and strategical man to like eventually even outsmart Timo and like bring down Timo and like that way to achieve Blackbeard's word of becoming the king of the world. So like definitely this like Blackbeard might be by in a definitely aware of that Timo really wanting like the gun also. So like Blackbeard will be that might have instantly solidified in like Blackbeard's mind that basically the gun also it would be most likely the strongest ever truth in like existence. So like Blackbeard will get a threat to like attain like also like the gun also. Yet like I'm right now like Blackbeard also having on top of like that is like not of course that like there has like that from a pro of like Blackbeard as well and like Blackbeard will be tolerating along the lines of to like not because like trying to like steal the ticket and steal the piece like muscle and to eat it like and that way trying not to attempting to like attain like three levels of power which might cause like Blackbeard to get eliminated might be along the lines like Blackbeard will be seeing so like I'm thinking like Blackbeard might have thought like basically if Blackbeard against immortality, then at that point, like exactly like like Blackbeard immortality, then at that point, Blackbeard will be able to like and so like the powers of like as many levels of as many levels of as Blackbeard wants to get on the line. Blackbeard might have came down to like practical conclusion. So like it might be solely due to the solution to like attain immortality that Blackbeard right now would be targeting, might be most likely targeting law. The remember premises to threaten and force law into that granting immortality to Blackbeard's maybe Blackbeard's plan. So like I'm I believe Blackbeard's plan would be to like most likely threaten law to like with like eliminating each and every single one of like laws like amongst everyone that's like only purchase to law that for like Blackbeard to like threaten with like eliminating each and every single one of the if that law doesn't listen to like Blackbeard and grant that Blackbeard immortality using like lost for power. Like maybe this might be totally Blackbeard plan right now. And this might be the reason for like Blackbeard right now most likely targeting low. This definitely my personal theory and prediction. But definitely I'm looking like definitely things for me eventually ending up totally backfiring for like Blackbeard. So like I'm bring that totally happening and that way not only surviving but and managing like a escape from like Blackbeard, but like I'm using that law realism so this is most likely law managing to like outsmart and escape from Blackbeard and it's like one possible scenario that I'm doing or like I'm doing like coincidentally by sheer coincidence like during this exact time like another like totally during the sort of situation for now like I'm doing by sheer lack for law like I'm doing some other pirates especially powerful pirate group that ending up like showing up to this exact location is like also like supposed to do that I'm doing it that's making it possible for like law and the group to like to be able to like escape from like data network scenario that I'm doing and I believe that way I'm doing that like we're certainly not being able to like attain immortality is like feeling this scenario that I'm doing. But like at the same time like not being so being to be obviously be able to like realize as to like why like there's like targeting law who could be to that only like steal away to attain that immortality will be along the line that law will be and that going to realizing that way like law will be like specifically like keeping his like guard up something to like the Blackbeard pair is also like giving this an art that I'm just going to recommend for him. Okay, so like the flame of the mentioned right now, that's for like the fire battle between that the blanket pirates and lost like half pirates like the flame thing like even with like law right now we were deciding to like not to escape that and the friends that needs going to definitely due to that definitely probably law recently in like the war and like one of having fought off against like emperor like definitely even in the fight against like the monk, even though it was with like the help of like kid that like has managed to like defeat the one like kid. My boyfriend since that fight was against like an emperor of sea like a different definitely lower they right now having this like pride and this like ego on the line to definitely at all okay because like law would be right now saying that basically along the lines like kid like as well after like the and after like the three like the one over like Lucci alone was like declare that September or like still both law as well as kid might have been like the frustration might have been genuinely real because like in terms as well the both like kid and of kid law as well might have genuinely felt that basically they too are like deserving of like the position of like being members of legacy even though they didn't get it. So like that frustration as well would be presented in law. So like hopefully to prove that to like law that law himself that uh he is like worthy of like the position of being one of like the prophecy that will be also that the reason for like law right now declaring to his like crew members that means giving the order to his like crew members that like they are definitely not going to like run away. It's like the scenario that I was and so like I'm from this like intense battle between that lost like hard fire versus like the blackbeard battle liberating like the battle progressing, but and I'm looking like law with such absolute sheer brilliance would be that even the like through powers that we are like outsmarting than the Blackbeard parents. Yet like I'm doing that. So like I'm doing like eventually I'm looking like for being an extremely unexpected man for like the Blackbeard parents like I'm doing like lost like hard parents that getting that initial hand against in that war against like the Blackbeard parents like in the middle of the piece like in the scenario like I'm looking yeah, like after the eventually still like the black red pirates like eventually slowly eventually starting to like get upper hand against like the hard pirates low and the hard pirates and then they were like low hitting it to like a hugely tough situation. In terms of like maybe like one versus one fight as well happening. With like some black red only jumping into like lost ship and basically like a fight between like black red and law probably happening. One versus one fight happening in like lost ship maybe like the scenario that I'm suffering. And while this fight will be happening in a couple of different like backers, was only eventually ending up all current law and as like by all the other team members of like pro members of like law would be just fighting against like the remaining members of like the Black Kid Pirates. So like I'm thinking while this fight will be going on and like I'm thinking like initially for like maybe Blackbeard totally or foreign law and as like and Blackbeard defeated law is like the scenario that I'm looking so that way, I'm just different like Blackbeard, like probably also starting like for and basically like Blackbeard at that point is starting to like threaten law by selling law that basically to like totally give immortality to like Blackbeard in exchange for like the survival of like law's crew members. Else like the Blackbeard pirates like would be eliminating lost crew members. So like I'm like in exchange for like lost sacrifice like to and making like Blackbeard immortal. If lost of that like then Blackbeard parents would be spared like lost crew members will be along the line like Blackbeard with like that villain six might be like threatening law at that point is like with an arc that I'm looking at. Law at that point would be like for law at that point would be starting to like to whoever is like and would be starting to like decide to like give up and grant immortality to Blackbeard, but like right as like the laws of like mindset would be started that waiver and like law would be like about to like move to like the decision of like granting immortality to like Blackbeard in exchange for like sparing like close crew members who lost but like as like law would be starting to like think in such a manner at that point itself to when I'm like the shock happening to like the blanket parents. So like I'm suffering like RPG as well as the Sobi. So we have to suffering right now like I'm suffering like that kind of situation might be like upper like affecting Sobi like I'm suffering Sobi might have not ended up reaching the parallel in the full and that might be the case definitely by the present. Sobi still even to the present might be in like the very like ship a battleship of like Blackbeard might be exactly where like Kobe would be. So like in like the lower like of like the Blackbeard pirates like and something like not only Kobe but like also RPG as well might be present and like the Blackbeard might also send RPG to like to look after like the improving body might have been the case definitely much through this. So like while this heated battle will be going on and like as like Lord is feeling defeated and will be about to grant immortality to Blackbeard like at that very last second is when I'm suffering like the entrance of like the extremely cold entrance of like Kobe as well as like how is it happening. and like I'm doing like from behind like I'm putting them falling straight away, attacking and taking out and badly cutting and defeating like with paths like one by one, like Aukidi as well as Kobe, like unleashing Kobe's like core powers, like I'm continually taking out like the back paths one by one as like mercenaries like I'm doing, and that being such an absolute huge shock for like landed at that point of like the scenario that I'm discovering. And that way like I'm putting like outage the aim of like outage and probably like to serious levels of damage to like the Blackbeard battleship as well as to the Blackbeard crew members. And this would only give that morale boost to like no as well as like the remaining of like lows like hardfire crew members, and then as well would be fighting back with like even more confidence. And that way like I'm putting like the Blackbeards are getting defeated. It's like the scenario that I'm looking, and Aokiji as well as like Kobe will be jumping into like lost ship. It's like the scenario that I'm putting, and that way like I'm putting like the black red battle like the hard battle solely through like the help of like unexpected help of like Aokiji as well as Kobe like ending up defeating like the black red battle like in the scenario that I'm putting, and that way like I'm putting like by then like I'm putting like Blackbeard getting pushed out, and basically Blackbeard as well as the entire cave with the Blackbeard crew will be at their future that which will be singing at that point is like the internet of the sea. Yeah, the Blackbeard ship would be singing at that point is like it's enough that I'm referring. And in the case of that Alkizi and Toby like I'm afraid by then they would have gotten into like the ship of Black Love, and they would be pretty safe from that location like the scenario that I'm in. So like at that point I'm delivering since the question of the reasons for delivering that Alkizi's ultimate goal might have been behind our even game process like the Blackbeard Park might have been to like still begin to be destroyed like the Blackbeard Park, and that way get that absolute praise and recognition from like the world government, and then for like OutDB to like return back to like post like an environment with that absolute fight might have been OutDB's plan. So like this fight between like Lost Ark Pirates and Blackbeard Pirates will be something that like I'm looking OutDB for will be seeing. And the presence of Kobe as well, which I'm going to mention could be only present within like the lower areas of like the ship of like the Blackbeard Pirates right now. Considering like the situation we probably looking at its advantages and besides for like LTV to like make it like betrayal and basically attack like the black pirates. So like I'm put that way that the group of like law and just like hard pirates along with like coding and how to deal with the fail from that middle of the sea location. While like the Blackbeard pirate would be like Blackbeard would be shouting out that that's good rage due to like the betrayal of like LTV while they were dealing with that, like the Blackbeard virus with their ship, and Blackbeard and his and their his crew members will be on that ship, with like Blackbeard shouting out to like to Alpedi, shouting out that basically that Blackbeard won't forgive Alpedi from this, and basically would be along the line. So like I'm still I'm looking at Kobe and Alpedi and Law and all of them thinking that basically this is it for like the Blackbeard virus that like with their singing ship, like the Blackbeard virus will be getting eliminated at that point will be along the lines they will be assuming, and like they will be like and like uh along with like law and their ship like how did he as well as Kobe would be like setting sail from that location like to Puna that and so like ever for skill my ambition for like scenario to be that more likely emo using like emo's powers like and maybe being emo that would be at that point saving not only Blackbeard but like then after the Blackbeard parents at that point. Maybe using like emo's like teleportation powers like emo will be totally teleporting not only Blackbeard but like then after for like the Blackbeard parents. But not towards like not towards like Marijo, but like like teleporting that to a totally different location. Uh, and that way like the Blackbeard path by getting saved from singing like the scenario that I'm doing. While that ship, the battleship of like the Blackbeard path getting suddenly sinking and like that way getting destroyed. But like the Blackbeard path would be still surviving through remote help. Remote help is like still into the scenario that I'm making on the thing and my secondary impression. Because like remote we're only keeping a sharp eye on Blackbeard at times. Due to like Nemo most likely by now having given Blackbeard that task to like get the amount of fortune might be the case that these might be the ambition. So like that way like the unexpected is happening with like Nemo being the one to like that way that all that has with stealthy and remote manner like saving like the Blackbeard players about which like Kobe as well as like Autigi uh as well as like no and those like hard pirates will be totally unaware of as they will be totally sitting safe like the just an that I'm doing again. That level eventually for like eventually like sit around to like Blackbeard that we're getting revenge on how to be what is then betrayed by eventually I'm saying I'm going the next future Blackbeard being like the one to eliminate how to be. eventually select an user scenario parameter for a given train.